Oh, snap. No, you saw nothing. We do that every time.
You
saw nothing. You saw nothing. Welcome, I'm Mike.
Hello, I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph, and it's time to do rapid reviews, kind of a mid-year check-in.
Yes.
With everything that we've played so far this year, to kind of do like a little recap. We're about halfway through the year, about to be in July.
A couple days, yeah.
A couple days away, and so we figured, like, let's look back and see, like, how's this year shaping up? And honestly, it's shaping up pretty fat.
It's making me
thick.
worried for when we do this at the end of the year, because we usually only do this at the end of the year, and then Mike was like, we should do a halfway one, because we always do, and we're going to come out this video tomorrow, we always do, like, our top 10 games of the year so far, which will be out tomorrow, so make sure to check that out.
Beep it.
But, so we were like, oh, we should also do, like, a big rapid reviews about the whole year, and then we're like, oh, we've already played 188 games this year. That means by the end of the year, we will probably have played well over 300.
It might be a record year. We might be on pace
for sure
for a record year. Thank you for throwing those yays in, Jabbles. Do hang out in chat. We're going to try to check in when we can. We do have a ton of games to get through, so we're going to try to keep it moving along. Before we begin, we just want to say a big thanks to everyone who became a patron so far in 2023.
Usually we shout out our patrons in our rapid reviews, but it'll be a lot of patrons.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of but we really appreciate anyone who's a current patron, a new patron, former patron. Doesn't matter if you're it doesn't matter. If you're just a watcher, a person who shares videos and stuff, whatever it is that you do to support the channel, it means so much, and it really actually truly does help. Simply saying, hey, I like these folks, if anyone asks who's a content creator to watch, all that stuff helps, so we really appreciate that. We have 188 games to get to. 101 of them are new.
101.
So we're going to start with all the new stuff, new to us anyway, and then we'll quickly recap the 5 games that we played before.
I think I got everything in the right spot. Who knows? It's a lot of games.
It's mostly going to be there.
So it's 188 games. We're going through, probably give each one a couple sentences. That'll be it. And yeah, we'll kind of go ahead and go through it. It'll be a fun time. And I'm, again, very terrified for the end of the year where there's going to be like 300.
It's going to be great.
So this video might be a rapid slog for you. When we did this video at the beginning of this year, where we talked about everything in 2022, it was like 280 games. That was like 3.5 hours. So I'm hoping this is like 2.5.
2.
Yeah, that's my hope. But we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. Let's go ahead and start it off, Mikey.
Let's do it.
So I played 20 Strong. I got to go out to Minnesota to hang out with Chip Theory games. This is like
a Chip Theory micro game.
Yeah, it's just
compared to normal Chip Theory games.
Yeah, it's just a deck of cards. There's a little bit of chips, but not really. It's actually one of their not really Chip Theory games.
Yeah, but there's dice.
All of these games are based in the Chip Theory world. So there's like a game based in like the Too Many Bones world, and the Cloud Spiral world, and the Burn Cycle world. So there's all these kind of different decks, and you're essentially just trying to get through this deck. There's all these kind of like baddies in there that you're trying to fight. And it was really cool. I want to play it again because we were kind of learning it and asking questions. I was worried that it was going to be a little bit too long for what it was. But I did really enjoy it, and I'm really excited to keep trying because the system was very, very cool.
Yeah, I know it's meant to be a short thing, but maybe once you know what you're doing. But I love the idea of kind of doing a Rolling Realms with Chip Theory and stuff where you're battling and going through.
You're just trying to get through the
worlds.
deck. It's really cool, though.
Really cool. Really want to try it.
We played Acropolis.
It's solid, man.
Acropolis is a good tile laying game.
Acropolis is one that I demoed first at AirCon in the UK. It's been around
like
for a while, and we knew we wanted to get it, but it was like super sold out. I think last year at Gen Con or PAX, it just was hard to get a hold of, and we hadn't gotten to it yet. And I played one tile down. I said, "This game's amazing." I just knew it because it's a tile laying game where you're building up the city. You're basically trying to get different colors of parts of your city in different configurations. It's kind of Cascadia, but then you're also doing a Miyabi or a number 9 thing where you're also stacking tiles and building up to get multipliers.
So good.
And I love that combination of those two things. It is so fun. It's easy to get to the table. Acropolis is amazing if you like tile laying games.
Indeed.
So good.
Tips by Scratch, we're doing great. We're starting this very long rapid reviews here. Also, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Please thumb it up if you're watching.
That's honestly a huge, huge way to help out content creators. I know it sounds silly when everyone says it, but it's what makes YouTube acknowledge that we
YouTube think that delicious when it gets the thumbs.
Indeed.
And the shares.
So we just played Autobahn. I put this in the new because it was basically new to us. We played it years and years and years ago. Still don't like it very much, unfortunately. I prefer Orleans. It's a kind of a spiritual sequel to that. Yeah. And this game has kind of the Orleans bag building to it, but I think the bag building doesn't feel as impactful. And there's this big movement mechanic that I just don't like. I want to like it. I love this derpy. I like the theme of this one better than Orleans.
Love it so much.
Love this derpy llama. I just don't really like
I feel like they added too many layers of puzzliness. And when I was first relearning the game, I was like, I'm going to love that. And I was just like, no, I don't. This game is hard enough already.
Yeah.
Orleans is better, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Thanks for getting those hearts in, y'all. We appreciate that.
You played Applejack. I'm very jealous about this. I know it's on BJ. I could play it.
Yeah, I got to pick this up. This is another 2-player Uwe Rosenberg tile laying game. It's 2-player.
Oh, I didn't know it's only 2-player. Okay.
Yeah. And you are placing these hexagonal tiles into your kind of, I guess, apple orchard. And they're going to show like one or more types of apples on it. They might show some like little honey pots around the edge and stuff. And you're going to be placing out these tiles, trying to create large groups of the same type of apple, because there's gonna be a few times as you're going through the game that type of apple is going to score. There's like 6 or 7 types.
Classic.
And then also you're trying to make matches of these honey things on the edge, because whatever the honey is showing on the edge is the cost of the tile, which are points that you're paying, kind of like patchwork. But if you can make matches with honey and stuff, you gain honey that way. There's also some flowers you can get. So it's just like nice, a couple little things to do. It's very pretty, very kind of simple and stuff.
I love the cover. Looks gorgeous.
The cover looks gorgeous. It's a great 2-player tile laying.
Really want to pick it up. The second it's in a store, it'll immediate buy.
Yeah, 100%. It's great.
Seems great. But Tiwa, another Uwe Rosenberg
Uwe
game. We actually played this again recently. I really like Tiwa. Tiwa is really, really fun. It's this game where you are in Ghana and you are trying to help the local fruit bat population, because they're really, really important to the ecosystem there. And you're trying to kind of live in harmony with the fruit bat population. Correct. Very, very, very cool.
Well, Applejack's 1 to 4 player. Okay, copy that.
Okay, that's what I was like. I didn't know it was a 2-player game.
I thought it was 2-player for some reason.
But this game is super, super cool. It's got this really interesting, like, kind of tug of war with your own resource. You have a resource board where all of your resources, like trees and fruits and villagers and all this kind of stuff on there. And you're constantly, like, taking things off this board and having to put them back on, and it's a really interesting
you do need that ebb and flow.
Yeah. I really like Tiwa. It's not quite on the same levels like Feast for Odin or Caverna for us, but I do really like it, and I really hope Nuve explores that kind of push-pull mechanic some more, because I think it's really interesting. I do like Tiwa quite a bit, though. I think it's outstanding.
I think it's so good.
Yeah,
I think it's
really good. I'm going to play Autobahn.
That's right.
Yeah, Autobahn's really fun. This made me want to try Brass Birmingham again, because it's kind of got a little bit of Brass Birmingham stuff, where you are building out the Autobahn in Germany, which is basically a big freeway. But you can go as fast as you want.
Like a cooler freeway than what we got, yeah.
Indeed. And this game takes place over a couple different decades. So the Autobahn was built over many, many, many years, because it was a huge infrastructure project. So you're kind of starting off on the Autobahn, and you're essentially putting out like gas stations, you're putting out all the infrastructure, infrastructure, but people can use your infrastructure, and again, you kind of want them to, because you're going to get bonuses if you like use my gas station. And then as the rounds progress, different parts of the Autobahn will open up, because now we're like in the 80s, and now this part was now open, part of the Autobahn.
That's cool.
So different colors of the Autobahn are now open. So now I can go over here, and you're essentially trying to pick up and deliver stuff. You're picking up stuff from over here, trying to get down to the south of Germany over here, and it's really, really cool. I really want to play it again. I think you would like it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's kind of got that Brass Birmingham where you're building infrastructure, and you want people to use it.
Yeah.
But I don't like brass. At least I didn't when I tried it, so I need to try it again.
Yeah, we'll see if you do in the future.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
We're going to play Automania.
We did.
Another auto game.
This is a worker placement game where you're building cars and stuff. Very kind of straightforward and ultimately lighter than a typical game we play now. But it's one we've always heard a lot about. The Dice Tower speaks highly of it. We've always wanted to try it. So we played it at BGG Spring. And it didn't disappoint.
Solid.
It's really solid. It's a game that, like, again, in our general taste, we've probably moved on from a bit already. Like, we like generally heavier games, a little bit more crunch. However, this game is really awesome because there's some fun puzzliness about where you're placing your workers. And it's kind of got like almost like a quadropolis thing where you're going to place a worker, and that's going to give you access to a row or column to pick from, to pick up a tile, and you're just making cars. And the thing that was always told about this game that's true is like you start making cars immediately. There's no like build-up phase of the game. You get right to doing stuff.
You have to get designs, and you have to get car parts. There's none of that. It's just you're immediately
get right to it.
We said this in our rap reviews when we talked about this. I think 5 years ago, this game would have blown our minds.
Yes.
Nowadays, we're like, it's good. And that's just kind of how games have progressed in general.
That's not a diss at all.
But not a diss at all, but really liked it. But it was just like, it's solid, but it didn't, I don't need it, you know? It didn't blow my mind.
Yeah, but I'm happy to have played it and would play it again.
Yeah. I got to play Bogcall. You kind of watched me play Bogcall. I played this at a brewery with one of our friends, Dan.
Yeah.
This is a game that's been around. It's a game I think this is a Nepalese game. It's around Nepal, that kind of era. And there's a whole bunch of different versions of Bogcall. And it's this cool game where you are tigers and your goat. One player's tigers, one player's goats. The tigers are trying to kind of jump over the goats kind of checker style to eat the goats, and then the goats are trying to essentially pin in the tigers so they can't move. And it's just a little abstract strategy game. It comes in this little bag, little claw thing. It's fantastic. This particular production of it was really, really cute and really awesome.
Yeah.
And it's really hard as the goats, I'll say. But it's just, that's what it is. So on your turn, you'll put out a goat, or on your turn as a tiger player, you'll move a tiger, and that's it. And you're just trying to win. Really, really cool. Again, this game has been around for hundreds of years. There's a whole bunch of different versions, a whole bunch of different like maps and stuff for it.
Yeah.
But it's a great abstract strategy game that's been around for a very long time. And I got to play it recently.
Yeah, the maps are abstract, but they're meant to represent the region that you are in.
Exactly. There's different parts of this area. Yeah. Like, oh, our map looks like this because this is where we live, kind of thing.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the version Nick plays, a celebration of these types of games with a couple versions and stuff. But of course, like you said, there's a ton of variants and stuff on this kind of idea.
Liked it. It was good.
Yeah, really cool. Cool production.
Yeah. Played Beer and Bread, Mike.
Beer and Bread, played back in January.
Indeed. Really like this game.
It's so good.
It's so good. Watch our top 10 2-player games that we just came out with because it came out. It's on that list. Yeah.
This is a fantastic, 2-player worker placement game where you're brewing beer and baking bread. That is so hard to say correctly.
Brewing, yes, it is.
Brewing beer and baking bread, just because you want to get mixed up. And I just love the kind of, this is like friendly rivalry across your two rival villages across a river, and there's sort of shared resources where you're sort of like all pulling from the same fields and the water from the same river, and so there's a little bit of contention over that. Yeah. And all these cards have 3 uses, so you want to use it to like upgrade your equipment, you want to use it for the recipe that's on there, or do you want to use it to collect resources? Yeah. It's just got so much fun stuff going on. The change between the 2 rounds and the way the card play works is also really interesting. Great game.
It is.
It's our kind of game.
Yeah, very, very
and a
good.
chunky one for a 2-player game.
Yes. Cool. Played Books of Time. I think this is about to come out to retail.
Yeah, I think so.
Played Books of Time. This is by Board and Dice. This is a civilization-themed game where you're essentially writing the books of history in your civilization. You have 3 books: trade, science, and something.
Dance.
Green. Mostly dance.
Technology?
And
so, science is red?
Doesn't matter. Basically, you're building
Discovery
out 3 books.
or something like that, I think.
And you're getting these different pages, and you're putting them into these books. They actually are like little binders that you make, and you're putting them in, and you close the binder.
Real solid gimmick.
And you'll be flipping the pages. And you can, on your turn, you can do the actions on the 2 pages that are open, and then you'll turn the page. Now you have 2 different actions. It's really, really cool. It's kind of in a medium weight of board and dice games, so it's not as big and heavy as like Teotihuacan or Tuansu or any of those big T games.
Are we in the B era officially now? Where Books of Time we have Barcelona?
I asked that during Board and Dice Con. I was like, we have Books of Time, we have Barcelona, are we in B area? So Books of Time's really cool. It's got a really great gimmick, solid medium weight game that I liked a lot. It's got a really pretty look to it as well. Yeah. And just a bangerang gimmick. Absolute bangerang gimmick.
Super solid gimmick that works really well and creates interesting decisions.
Indeed. But boop, boop.
This is, again, proving that theme matters because this is a pure abstract game where you're trying to get 3 cats in a row. I'm sure during playtesting it was just like 3 blue chips versus 3 red chips.
Yeah, it was blue versus white.
Yeah, but now they made it kittens and cats. If you get 3 kittens in a row, they become cats. And once you get 3 cats in a row, you win. And when you play stuff, it pushes everything else away from it, essentially. It boops them off the bed. But kittens don't boop cats, so once you get some cats out there, they start flexing their muscles. And if you get 3 cats in a row, but it's really hard because, again, if you put cats next to cats, it's going to boop those cats away. So you have to kind of strategically boop them into position to make that line, and it is actually...
But not boop your opponents into position,
Exactly.
Too. It's a tough game.
It's a tough game and stuff, but with an amazing, amazing production and theme.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm very excited for the Halloween one.
Cannot wait.
I want all of them.
Give me it right now.
I want all of them. Boop is great. You played Bottom of the Ninth.
I did. This is kind of a 2-player like mind game where you're in the bottom of the 9th. You have the home teams up to bat. They're trying to get a tie game, and if you're on the road, you're trying to spoil and not let them win the game. So the pitching side, which I was playing as, you are going to be choosing these discs, and you're either going to be throwing I think high or low and inside or away.
Yeah. Pitching,
and you are secretly choosing what you're going to throw, and then the batter's guessing what you're going to throw, which is kind of like what happens in baseball. You're trying to say, I think they're going to throw a slider
more or less, right?
And depending if the batter gets 1 or 2 of those right, they're going to have a couple of advantages. And if you get them to whiff and stuff, then you're rolling dice to basically see what the outcome is. Do they get a hit? Is it a strike? Is it a ball? And stuff. And you're playing through this inning of play. You can swap out pitchers and hitters and stuff. It was a really fun game in that you're just trying to get in each other's heads. Yeah. They got super cheap at Barnes & Noble. I was like, this is actually a pretty enjoyable time.
It's an older game. I've seen this game for years, so I always kind of wanted to try it. so now we can.
Happy to have tried it.
What's up, Visor in chat, and hello, Corey.
What's
hello,
up,
everyone in chat
Viz?
again. Sorry, we're not talking to chat too much. We got to keep on rolling because
We're only in the bees.
I would say Broken and Beautiful. Really like Broken and Beautiful. This is a little set collection game based around kitsugi, which is the Japanese art of when like a piece of ceramic breaks, it's then useless. So what you do is you kind of put it back together, kind of glue style, but the glue is gold.
Yeah, the gold right there, the gold inlay.
And then that makes it now more valuable because now it was broken, but now it's put together.
Yeah.
And your scars are beautiful, right?
It's valuable
like
for its imperfections.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's based around that, but it's a kind of a simple set collection game where you're getting these different, mostly forms of pottery, like plates and jars and things like that.
Yep.
But then they're going to be breaking throughout the game, which you actually kind of want to happen. But then you need to make sure you have gold to then fuse them back together.
You have to get them repaired, or else they're really not worth it.
Indeed, if you have now broken ones that are fused back together, they're now more valuable. It's a really great little set collection game that I like a lot. It's really tiny, and it's about a cool theme that you just don't really see very much. And it's a really solid set collection game. I like it a lot, and this will be a great travel game.
Yeah.
And a game we'll kind of keep around probably forever because it's just small and good.
It's easy enough to explain, and it's a fun way to twist up the idea of like a simple set collection game without breaking and pushing your luck a little bit with that.
Ooh, Corthane loves Broken Beautiful. Yeah, it's a great game. Pick up if you got a chance because it's awesome.
There you gooses are. High five to the maple. Yeah, sorry I haven't responded yet. I've rushed a baby to daycare.
Yeah, Mike was.
And
Mike got back from daycare, got coffee, and sat down.
Here we are.
And then we started streaming. So
Nick, sometimes you can't stop, won't stop, and
Can't
won't ever
Stop,
stop.
I finally got to play Can't Stop.
Yes.
Have you played it before this year?
Yes.
Okay, this is my first time. That's why I played it on there.
Yes.
Can't Stop's great. It's pure push your luck. You are rolling these dice and then trying to move up the different values of dice, like 7, basically 2 through 12.
Yeah, there's tracks for all of them.
And so when you roll a 12, you get to move up your little 12. And you move a 6, and you get to move up a little 6. And you're basically trying to get to the top of 3 of these tracks. But you can only ever be moving up 3 tracks during your turn.
Correct.
So the thing is, if you ever then roll and you can't move up a track, you're out. And you bust, and then you lose all your progress. So it's that pure push your luck. The theme is stop signs, obviously, road safety. Wear your seatbelt, people. If you don't wear your seatbelt, you're an idiot.
There's also versions where you're climbing up a mountain and stuff. Yeah,
Okay,
but this is the classic. It's like it's just a stop sign.
I want the weird stop sign. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
But it's pure push your luck, and it's great.
It's so good because you're like I can for sure roll this, and you're like, no, you can't.
There's no possible way I can't roll.
Yeah, the thing that's really smart is that it's harder to roll 2s and 12s, so those tracks are much shorter than a 7, which is the longest and stuff. But yeah, it's push your luck in the best way.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's awesome. It's super, super good. We got to play Comic Hunters. We got to play this at BGG Spring. This is a game where it's a set collection game where you're collecting Marvel comics.
Yep.
And you are collecting different sets of them. So you want like a really big Wolverine collection, or you want like a bunch of little sets. And it takes place over many rounds. And each round there's different drafts. And the drafts are like all over the place in terms of how they work. But they're all really, really cool. And it's just a cool theme for a cool game, but you're like collecting Marvel comics. It's not available here because I don't think they have the license to sell it here because they're using
different
like
countries
Marvel.
have different things. So I'm thinking that they must have licensing down there, but not here yet. But then there's been I think Tom Vassell said just wait. So I'm like, what does that mean? Because it is a cool game.
Really fun set collection game. Really, really cool. It's an absolute blast, but I think it's only in Brazil right now, so you can't really get it unless you ship it in and stuff. But it's really, really fun.
Really fun.
Got to play it, and it's awesome. I got to play Cosmo Octopus. We haven't played this quite yet. We do have it.
No, we have it over there, but haven't played
this is a game they'll be releasing at Gen Con.
I see you, Inky One.
This is about the great Inky One. There's a cosmic octopus that you are worshiping. You are like cultists worshiping.
Look
how cute
Look at it. Oh, come on. This is the Cthulhu we've always wanted. This Cthulhu is nice.
I don't need Cthulhu. I need this one.
No, just
So this is a game where you're kind of in the cosmos and you're moving Cosmo Octopus around and then doing actions on there, and it's
based on where you're going, right? On
basically where you're going, and it's going to mostly get you resources, get you different kind of cards, and then you're using these resources to fulfill these cards, and they kind of work in different ways. What you're trying to do is get 8 tentacles. Once you have 8 tentacles, you have summoned Cosmo Octopus, and he loves you. Probably eats you. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the greatest fate you could.
That's all you want. If you're a cultist, you're trying to get killed by whoever you're worshiping, right? So it's good. It's got some Splendor vibes where there's some, because you can get ink and you can get things like that. That's some of the resources. But you get some Splendor vibes where when you get, sometimes you can get these kind of cards and now you have one permanent ink. And so now it's you always have one. So there's some Splendor stuff going on, some set collection. It was a cute little game. A really, really great theme. It was good. It was a solid little game that I think it's going to resonate really, really well with people.
Yeah, look out. We're thinking this might be one of the hot ones at Gen Con, so we'll have to see.
Made
by the person who made Parks, so
yes,
you got
indeed.
that. You got some
Indeed.
vibes there.
You played Crackless.
Crackless. I played this when I was kind of going around doing a bunch of demos at the Hachette area at Aircon. This is like a party game where you're given a category. So it might be like Harry Potter characters or something was one of them. Kind of pop culture-y stuff.
Right.
And then you have a bunch of cards in your hand that are kind of like letter cards, because kind of like Uno-ish, where you're trying to get rid of your hand, and there's a couple like mess with each other cards. So there's some Uno vibes there. But you're going to have to play a card, and there's like an A, you have to put like Azkaban. You know, you have to do, you're limited to what you can play by like the cards you have. Certain cards are harder, you can pass stuff around. So it's a fun, silly game where like if you want something that has some Uno vibes, so there's something there, and it's like a casual party game, this is a great game for that. This is a great game for people who are not necessarily gamers quite yet. Yeah, I played it with Paula.
That's why he hates it.
No, I did not say that. I liked it the best because Paula was there playing, and it was actually a really good time. We had some good laughs. I was like, okay, I see this as a party game for sure.
Go.
It's a solid one.
We're gonna play Crosswind Catapults very recently. This is on Kickstarter, I think, still.
Yeah.
As at the time of recording this, Crosswind Catapults is a remake from Restoration Games, who sponsors the Bros. Murph. Thank you, Restoration Games. Love you. What's up, Hornets? And so Crosswind Catapult is a game from a while ago that people loved from their childhood, and they brought it back, and again, made it kind of more of a game like Restoration Games does. And it's very, very fun. It's very silly. It's more of an activity than anything else. But you essentially build up your castles. There's a couple different ways that you have to build certain things.
Yes.
But then you build up your castles, and then you're literally taking these discs, and you have crossbows and catapults, and you're just throwing them at the other players' castle, and you're trying to wound all of their troops.
Trying to tip them over, essentially.
Yeah, you're trying to knock them
style.
over. And then there's like some tactic cards you're playing, which will give you like these kind of mercenaries and stuff that give you like little special abilities. But really, what is you're building a castle, throwing crap at it, and see if you win. And it's so much fun. It is so much fun.
Yeah, it's just a
and if
silly
you have kids,
time.
This will be your kid's favorite game until they're like 20.
Oh, because you don't need to play the game. You can just build like the big. I would take all the pieces from both castles, build a super castle, and see how many hits it takes to like knock it down.
It's just like having blocks, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And there is a game around it and stuff like that. And the way there's like a trebuchet and stuff like that. Also,
the pieces and stuff work really well.
Really
like
well.
The crossbow, you just kind of do like a little pincher, and that thing fires.
Really fun though. It's bonkers
really
and just silly and great. If you have kids, take a look at it.
You're gonna enjoy yourself.
I'm gonna play Deal with the Devil. You played this
I
yet?
haven't played it.
I know you haven't played it yet. Speaking of Paula in chat, we gotta play this, Paula. So Deal with the Devil
so bad.
I really, really, really like this game. This game is I like it a lot. This game is a 4-player only game, kind of deduction-ish game, but mostly it's kind of a Euro game where you're trying to build out these buildings, get points, things like that. But every person's a different character. There's 2 humans, there's a cultist, and then someone's the devil. And the way you get resources, you're doing secret deals with people around the table. It's run by an app. This is made by the same person who made like Alchemists. And basically, you don't know who you're doing deals with, but basically, you know who you're getting a deal from. So like, you get my box, I was the devil, and people are like, oh, this is the devil. Ooh, there's a lot of good stuff in there. And I'm
so you know the role it's coming from, but you don't know obviously which player.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So every chest that you're opening will tell you who it's from, or at least tell you it's like one of the humans.
The devil one just comes up, there's sulfur, and you're like,
sulfur. Oh gosh. And like the devil is trying to gain souls, the cultist is trying to get rid of their souls, and the humans are basically just trying to.
They're just trying to I'm trying to build a city.
Yeah, and it's so much fun. I played it was me, Shay, Benita, and Brandon Ajar at Dice Star West.
Such a good crew for that kind of game.
So much fun. It immediately shot up to like one of my favorite games of last year. I love Deal with the Devil. I think it's so much fun. It's very hard to play because it's 4-player only. It's also a big, heavy game.
I love that flex though. I love that they're making the game that they want to make.
It's so good. What's up, Tabletop Alliance? Hello, friends.
Tabletop Alliance.
Tabletop Alliance is who we worked with for our top 100.
Absolutely. We've been getting updates recently about people getting their games and stuff, and it always makes us so happy to see.
Wonderful, wonderful charity. Make sure to check out Tabletop Alliance. They're incredible. We're going to play Dog Park very recently with the new Tricks expansion.
Yeah, so I never played Dog Parks. You played it once a while ago.
Yeah, we also got to play it,
But we played it with the new Tricks expansion stuff, and I enjoy this one. I think this one it doesn't hit for us as hard as some other games and stuff.
But kind of similar-ish, yeah.
You know, for us it gives us kind of like Wingspan vibes, where you're getting dogs and stuff that give you abilities and stuff. It's not Wingspan-ish really, but like, you know, something akin. But the theming of this one is super good. The new Tricks expansion is awesome.
It does make
because
it
now
cool,
you get dogs. You get to get these extra special abilities based on the type of breed they are. There's also a multi-breed dogs, like mixed breed dogs. So it's a little bit easier to get those kind of majorities for the kind of breed expertise, I think, for the end of the game and stuff. So this is one that with the expansion, I actually kind of like it. It beefs up a couple things, gives you a couple more options. For me, this one falls a little bit into the category of like, I wish it was longer, but also it shouldn't be longer.
Yeah.
Because I want more dogs. So you get 8 dogs, and I'm like, I want 50.
I want 1 billion.
Because I like dogs. Give me 85.
Let me have all the dogs.
There's not too many dogs in the world.
Yeah,
but like this game, it is dialed into where it should be, and I can acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, and I'm like, it's a me problem.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it's a good game. I'm not entirely sure what doesn't make this game great to me, but it's definitely in the good category for me. It's just, I don't know, there's something missing. I'm not sure what it is, but I do like the game. And again, if you like dogs or you have someone with dogs, get them this game because they're going to love it because it's dogs.
Yeah, I think there's just not quite enough like burrs for us to kind of like crunch on, like thoughts to like, it's smooth.
And the new Tricks expansion is really nice. Yeah. Really, really nice.
Yeah, I recommend it with the expansion. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice ad.
We're going to play Dorfman Antique. Shout out to Aldi from Board Game Geek for giving us this one.
What a
Dorfman
legend.
Antique is so much fun. This is based off a video game. The video game is kind of based off of like Carcassonne. But they made a board game out of it. The board game is really, really good. This is a game where you are jointly putting out hex tiles, and you are building out, kind of like Carcassonne style, you're kind of building out this world.
This landscape,
and you are doing these tasks. These tasks will be like, you need to have this big of like a forest, or this big of like a wheat field. And once you do that, you get rid of that task, you're good to go, and you bring out a new task. You're basically trying to get through all the tasks before you run out of tiles. That's the general goal.
You want to get as many done as you can, because each one will be worth points. If it's a 4 task, it's 4 points, or 5 is 5 and stuff.
Yeah, and as the game progresses, it's actually a bit of a campaign game that you can definitely like jump in and out of. It's not like you're getting like secret information, but it's like you're kind of getting more different kinds of tiles, more different kinds of way to score, and it's just so much fun.
One thing that's really cool, and this was mentioned in a comment, something I thought about recently because I've employed this game fills a very specific niche.
Yes.
Because this game is a game that people can hop into and out of mid-game, and it will not matter.
That's a very good point, yeah.
Because on a turn, you're just flipping over a tile and adding it to the landscape. It's cooperative, so we're all talking about where things should go.
That's a good point.
And so Karen literally went to go like take care of Logan, came back in. She's like, oh, I shouldn't play. I was just like, literally hop down.
Yeah.
You know what we're going for. We can get you up to speed. And so this is a great like start of game night game where people are waiting to arrive. And you're like, well, I don't want to start a big game because then they're going to arrive and have to wait. Play Dwarf Romantic because people can hop in as they arrive. It will not matter in a good way.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that. That's a very good point, yeah.
I was like, that is beautiful.
We got to play Earth. We played Earth many times this month, this year rather. Earth is very, very good. This is kind of a big, crazy engine builder game where everything gives you points. Everything is also kind of currency that you can spend.
Yep.
It's very, very cool. You're building out a 4x4 grid, a little ecosystem, and it's got a great follow mechanic where the active player takes an action, but then everyone else gets to do that action, just a lesser version. So it's one of those games where like you're always engaged because you're always getting to do something. Yep. You're building these big, crazy combos because when you do like the red action, all of your cards that have a red banner on you also get to activate all of those cards. So you just put together these like absolutely bonkers combos, and like it's really, really fun. People have been loving this game. It's all over the place. It's on BGA. It's great. Check it out. Earth is awesome.
It's so good.
It's real good. I'm gonna play the Elder Scrolls game. This is what I was at Chip Theory's offices for. Yeah. Was to play this new Elder Scrolls game. Chip Theory Games made this one.
Nick hated it. No,
it's really fun. I like to.
And you're a fan of.
I'm a fan of Skyrim and Elder Scrolls and stuff. Yeah, I am a fan of that. I played a whole bunch of.
Can I say Morrowind? Is that date? The date's me about
still good.
About 50 years.
It's not a new game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, now there's Skyrim. It's been out for like 17 years.
Isn't that crazy?
So the 6th one will never come out.
I bought you Skyrim way back in the day. I think when you first moved here.
To LA, yeah, basically.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's not a new game, but but it's really, really fun. Basically, you're kind of doing different battles, kind of like Chip Theory style, where you're putting out chips and the chips do different stuff. But it's got this really cool cooldown track where you can only do certain things so many times because then you go down, they go down the cooldown track, and then you have to like wait for them to come back so that you can do those attacks again. So if you're doing like some huge attack, you have to cool that attack down. You can't do it. And that cooldown track was actually so much fun because to manage it was legitimately very difficult and such a cool little puzzle. And I really, really liked it. And then it's got a bunch of Elder Scrolls stuff where you're getting different. You start as a different race. You can be like an Argonian or one of the cat people or whatever they're called. And then you also can be a different class, and you get to level up. You can get multiple classes. So you're like, I'm two-handed, and now I have Restoration too. It's really, really good. I liked it a lot. I cannot wait to play it more.
So cool. Tabletop Alliance, I'm with you. I want Dorf to win the STJ for sure.
I hope so too. I think it deserves
pick.
it. I get to play Islet. I played this at breakfast with Ruel.
It seems like a perfect breakfast game because you're sort of like knitting.
Yeah.
Or doing whatever.
So this is like an area control. What are area control? I don't know. It's confusing.
It's sort of like an outlast your opponent, right? You want to be the you want to. It's player
be a
elimination.
last person standing, basically. Yeah. There is a board with all these holes in it, all these little eye holes.
Yeah.
And you have a pink string and a blue string, and you roll a die, or you roll 2 dice. I can't remember. And you have to then move a string a certain amount of dots over. So the string comes out like right here, and then you roll a 1, you can go up to that dot right there. And so if you roll like a 4 or 5, you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then put the string back through. So the string is constantly doing this through the board, and you can move either string. And if you lose if you can't do one of the actions. So getting like a 6 is really bad because the board is not that big.
Yeah.
So getting a 6, you're kind of like, oh gosh. And then you can add in at one point another pink string and another blue string, so you have like more options. It's really, really fun. But again, it's a wooden board and literally some shoestrings. Yeah. And so we were like literally eating like French toast and like playing it and passing back and forth. It was great. It was super fun.
Yeah, really unique idea.
Yeah. So it's area control knitting.
Yeah. You're trying to make sure you always have a legal move you could do, which is really cool.
Yeah, it was a cool game.
Yeah.
I got to play Fujiflush for the first time. You had played it last year.
That's right, because you were hanging out, but you didn't play.
I watched it. Fujiflush is stupidly fun. This is a Freedom and Freeze game. Why it's so green. Yeah. And this is a game where you are trying to
Fuji's.
Yeah, about Fuji apples. Sure. You're trying to get rid of your cards basically, and when you you're basically trying to stay on the board. So if you put down like a 5, you want the 5 to get back around to you and no one have beaten it, and then you get to get rid of that card. That's when your card's gone.
Yeah. 5's not a particularly high number.
Not a particularly hard.
As you can see, they go up to 20.
Because if Mike plays a 6, he flushes my 5. I have to put it back. I have to draw a new card. So I have the same amount of cards. But the cool thing is you can get on choo-choo train. So if I put a 5 and then Mike put down a 5, now we have a 10. And then if Jamie in chat puts down a 5, now we have 15.
Because you're strength in numbers.
But then someone puts down an 18 and flushes all of us. And so like you're just trying to, and you get into these choo-choo trains where you put down 2 and you go choo-choo train. And put down choo-choo train. Or you put down like 17 choo train, 17 choo
There's more copies of those lower numbers than those higher numbers, so you do have that ability. Like there could be a lot of people with 2s. Yeah. You can build up your strength.
You get pretty high with it, and it's so much fun. It's one of the best party games out there. It's just
light.
Big
it's silly.
Group.
I did terribly. I never got rid of one card.
It's hard.
I got flushed out every single time, and it was horrible. And I didn't care. I
want to pick this one up so bad,
especially with a high player count.
It's incredible.
Great
Absolutely incredible.
Great con game.
You got to play the new Furnace. I put Furnace on you because you got to play the new expansion.
I did. It's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like what it added, and so when I first played it, I was just like, yeah,
See how Mike hates it?
No, I really like what it added, but I'm like, I don't know if I need it or not. I like that it adds more player power. So one thing I can give a gripe on is we were playing a full player count game. So I'm sitting, where you are on one end of the table. And they have all these cards laid out that you're bidding for. And now there's certain ones that have text on them, which is really cool. The ability to do is cool. I cannot see it from where I'm sitting. Yeah. And then on the very far end, there's these like little action modifiers where you actually put them on the cards and it changes what that card does, which I think is super duper cool.
Yeah.
It's tiny text that's even further away. I cannot read what it is. So I at one point said like, I'm not going to get those things.
Yeah, because
I can't see them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's a bummer. I don't know how you get away from that because you have the text on there. But I was just like, as I was playing, I was like, I really like what this is adding, but I'm also ignoring whole parts of it purely for convenience.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with this expansion. Yeah. I'm glad they added it because I do think Furnace needs a little bit more new blood in it after we played it a bunch.
We cooled on it pretty hard, yeah.
So I want to try it again, but a couple of those things I was like, man, at a full player count game, you are going to ignore stuff based on just like, I can't be bothered.
Distance alone,
yeah. And I was like, that's not great.
That's a bummer,
so
but
I didn't love that part.
But I'm glad that the things it added did seem cool, yeah.
Yeah, everything it added was cool, so I can't dog it.
Played a bunch of Gaia Project, Mikey.
Gaia Project's amazing.
Gaia
Project's so good.
You want to play? Are you good at it yet?
No. I'm okay. I think I'm all right. I'm like solid.
Okay.
I'm solid at it sometimes. Gaia Project is based on Terra Mystica. It's part of the Terra Mystica extended universe, about to be extended with Age of Innovation.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah,
freaking Marvel or something. Gaia Project is like Terra Mystica 2.0, where it takes the same kind of concept of like you are a people from a certain now type of planet, and you are going around and kind of venturing out to new planet types and stuff. And depending on how similar that planet is to your home type, it's going to be harder work to kind of get down onto that planet and live in a habitable way. This game is fascinating because there's like in-round goals where like if you're in this round, you're building your mines and stuff, you're going to get rewarded with points. And so this game, very much the same with Terra Mystica or Terra Nova, whatever the current round thing is, whatever's the the soup du jour, you want to be doing that thing to get those points and stuff. And so you see everything at the beginning of the game, all the in-round bonuses, end-game bonuses and stuff. And so when you set up, including what faction you choose, where you place on the board, is going to set you up for great success or bad failure. So there's a lot of pressure there, but I think it's really cool.
It's
a
really want to
game.
try. I need to try.
Bumping tracks, each track's good. It's good.
You play the game, and you said you like the game.
The game is amazing. The game is so good. It is so good.
It better be with a name like The Game.
It's,
you know what I mean?
Yes, it's so awesome because you basically have two stacks that are starting from 1, and you're putting cards that are always higher, and 2 stacks that are starting at 100 and going lower.
So it's kind of like the mind.
Kind of like the mind, and you're trying to play out all your cards. You have a hand of cards and stuff, and you always have to play, I think in the first like half of the game, you have to play 2 cards on your turn. And the problem is like, what if I only have like stuff in the 30s? If I'm right here at the low end, I'm jumping right to 30. That's bad. If it's the high end, I'm jumping right to 30. That's catastrophic. And but you have to play stuff. So it's kind of that fun thing of like, I'm sorry, y'all. Like I have to do it. I have to play. But if you ever can play a card that's exactly 10 points higher or lower, depending on what stacks you're on, you can play it and kind of rewind the clock a bit and bring it back.
Interesting.
And so it's super duper fun. I think it's better than the mind. Because there's that, just, it's a little bit more open. You're not like silent and stuff. You can't say what you have, but you can say like, I have something perfect for this stack, which is something legally you can say, which is generally you saying, I have something that's 10 lower than this.
Yeah, right.
Do not touch this stack.
Okay, cool.
And it's really fun.
Well, the fact that you're doing the mind, but you're going both directions already opens it up more. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice, right?
But it's still really hard to
I really want to try it.
It's really great.
We finally got to play Glass Road. We've been trying to play Glass Road for years. We played this at BGG Spring. Just got it, learned it while we were having lunch, and then played it. It's great. It's definitely an Uwe game where you're definitely getting some Uwe vibes, but it's got this interesting card playing where everyone has the same set, I think 15 workers,
a
there's blacksmith and a glass blower and stuff like that, and you're only going to choose like 3 of them, or 5 of them, I think. And you're going to play 3 of them. But the thing is, if I play like my blacksmith, and then anyone else has a blacksmith, they also have to play the blacksmith. If you end up playing it alone, you're going to get to do both the things on the card. If you play it with other people, you're going to have to like do only one of the things on the card. So you want to play alone. But the thing is, you have 5 cards, you're only playing 3. So you actually kind of want people to flush out your cards because then you get to do, more actions. It's really, really cool. And then other than that, it's got like a lot of Fields of Aura vibe where you're like putting out buildings onto your board. Those buildings do stuff. It's really cool, but it's with 2 players. It's like 30, 45 minutes.
It feels more, Newsfjord-ish, where it's like, this is going to be a quick one, at least at those lower player count games. So if you want some Uwe vibes, and with the whole, like the way the resources work on these kind of like dial things is really weird and interesting. It gives you like some good Uwe feel in a quicker amount of time. Glass Road was really awesome. Really want to pick this one up.
Yeah, cannot wait to pick it up.
And explore a lot more. So yeah, like that a lot. And I like the rolls thing. That was cool.
We're going to play the Great Rat Wars.
We did
a coverage of this game. This is a big kind of one versus all game. One person's playing the rats, so they're trying to take over New York. The other players are trying to play the humans who are trying to not get taken over by rats.
Makes sense.
And it was cool. It was an interesting system. I think this game got bogged down a little bit by all the characters are cool and they all do really cool stuff, but there's this kind of like this interesting movement mechanism where you basically play off this card. There's like this big swath of area that you can kind of move into. And it just kind of got a little bit weird, but ultimately the game itself was like good. I liked it. I thought it was fine. It's never going to be our kind of game because it's kind of like big area control. Well, not really area control, but just kind of troops on a map. one versus all, not really our kind of game, but the game itself was cool.
Yeah, the things you can do, the asymmetry between the types of characters and like your kind of general rats and stuff give interesting choices. I do think it was just kind of bogged down by, like the movement cards. I think we played it with Shay, and Shay was sort of saying that like it's kind of like a war game thing. Sometimes they do that where this allows you to move in a certain like range in a certain direction. And I would have rather they just said like everyone has standard movement of like maybe certain characters are faster than the others and stuff.
Yeah, you can move 3.
But you can move 3 and you can make that however you want it to be.
Because you kind of be like, oh, can I move it? It just kind of gets
It wasn't something that was interesting to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, Great Wowers unfortunately didn't fund.
Yeah.
And so they canceled their
I think they're going to try and run it again.
Campaign. I hope they run it again because it is fun and I like the theme of it. And
I like the theme. And the minis were cool and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
almost like a like Ninja Turtles cartoon or something.
Kind of, yeah.
Like it's just kind of wacky and stuff with the style. So hopefully they launch again and get to their goal.
Yeah,
We'd like to see that, of course.
Play Green Team wins for the first time. This is another great party game. This is a game where it's kind of a word association game where you're going to have one of 3 different kinds of questions. It's going to be like a this or that, a fill in the blank, or basically multiple choice, one of 3. And this will be like blank mustard, and then everyone writes down what they want. The correct answer is yellow. Yes, we need to because it always bothers me.
Because Foster the Meatball and a bunch of weirdos from different planets are like honey mustard. And I'm like, what?
Yellow mustard is the only mustard.
Honey mustard won, and I'm like, that is insane.
And then basically, whatever the majority is, those people go on to the green team. And the green team is the best. The green team wins.
Green team's the only.
If you move onto the green team, you get a point. If you're on the green team and you stay on the green team, you get 2 points. If not, you have to go to the stupid idiot orange team.
Yeah, dumb orange team where the freaking yellow mustard.
And that's all it is. You're basically trying to get to like 30 points, and it's just fun because it's not necessarily what you think things are going to be. It's what you think everyone else is going to say.
Here.
And as a party game, it's just one of the best party games out there. It's incredible.
So good.
Absolutely You played Habitats a couple times here.
I did. So Habitats is the game that kind of launched the Nova Luna framework, Sagani, which I played them all now.
You have.
So I played Habitats, which we have, which All Play carries now. And this is a tile laying game. It's not like Nova Luna because there's a bunch of different types of tiles that all do different things. There's like watchtowers that basically want to have certain edges not covered and they score, or I think it's what they can see. There's certain like gates that want to have certain edges not covered because it's the edge of your park. Animals want to have certain biomes around them, all sorts of stuff like that. It's really fun and really good. I like having all the different things to kind of think about and place. I think it's really interesting. So if you like a Nova Luna, if you like Sagani, you like Framework, or any of those, this is the game that kind of has some of that flow-through adjacency for the animals and the biomes thing, and that's what gave Uwe that idea to then launch those other games. And he's been open about saying that like this game inspired those. Habitats is a worthy one. I think it's really cool, especially if you want like more types of stuff. There's a bunch of types of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, really cool.
We got to play Hamlet. Hamlet, we did a stream for this recently. Hamlet is one of those games we kind of talked about in our last rapid reviews where it's like, I really want to like it.
Fourthane, thank you for getting our back. Frosted Meatball and everyone else that said honey mustard are absolutely wrong. Go ahead, Hamlet.
Hamlet is an interesting game where you are building out a hamlet and you're trying to build the church so it can become an official village.
Yeah.
And you're putting out these tiles, but these tiles are very odd shapes. They're not like polyomino tiles, but they're not like squares. They fit together.
They do fit together in these weird ways.
Yeah,
but yes, they're not. They're very strange.
And then it's kind of like a resource delivering game where you can get like stone and like wheat and like wood, and then you can use like this kind of your chain of like donkeys out there, and you basically can go bump bump bump, and then you can get these resources to where you need to go. This game ended up not being for us. We didn't really enjoy it that much, unfortunately. Wanted to like because it's got a cool look, I got a cool concept, but just the tiles, there wasn't enough variety in the tiles for us. There was only really like a couple different kinds of tiles, and then there was just like a better version of that tile, but not like any different.
Yeah.
Just like now you can do 2 things instead of 1. And then there were all these scoring tiles, which are cool because you're like, oh, this one wants to be surrounded by this, and I've claimed it, so I want to make sure I surround it with this. But the thing is like, there's so many of the scoring tiles, and they don't do anything until the end of the game. So it feels like a lot of the time...
It was kind of an inactive game in some ways.
A lot of time when you're doing stuff, you're putting out these tiles, doing all this stuff that doesn't matter now. And I just needed more in it. There's like an expansion or a standalone game coming out. I'm still interested in this world, still interested in the system.
Yeah.
But Hamlet wasn't for us. At least this one, I really wanted to like it so badly, but we just didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah, it was just that thing where you get kind of built up with the types of materials you can produce and refine, and I was just like, what do we do now? Like,
Yeah.
there's certain places you can go to, like a market, to kind of do contract completion. I thought that would kind of be the game, and it's really not.
Yeah.
It's one of the avenues to points. That's kind of what I focus on. But yeah, it was just odd. It was just odd.
Unfortunately, it wasn't for us. Yeah,
I'm curious about the expansion though.
You got to play Hastatania.
Yes,
We've always want to play
always
this game.
wanna try it.
This game is tough because it's only 3 players. You can you can play 3 to 4 or 3 to 5.
3 to 5, I think. Yeah.
But you can't play it 2-player. And Hastatania is good. You're essentially building out these like rows of your cubes, trying to connect these different like towns to each other.
Correct. Yeah.
And yeah, it was interesting. I did really, really enjoy it. I'm kind of having a hard time remembering exactly what you're doing now.
You're kind of doing that stuff. You can get like little player powers and things. You can sort of upgrade stuff as you go. It's been a little while since we played it, to be fair. One thing I really appreciate about this one is it's very smooth.
Yes.
Very smooth. You're just placing out these cubes for the most part.
Yeah.
Then when you complete these like little areas, you basically will, again, choose one of the ends and put your little markers out and do stuff. But it's like this, mostly quick. You can be cutthroat because you're trying to cut each other off and stuff,
constantly.
not let certain people take certain things and stuff. But as you get down to certain areas, you can basically improve. I think your books, you get more action points and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a few things like that.
There's a whole bunch of it. It was very cool. And there's like a whole,
Yeah.
this one is like the big box version. There's like a whole bunch of different maps and stuff.
Yeah, I think
it was cool.
Optimized for different player
Yeah,
counts.
it was early in the year, so I'm having like, what exactly?
Yeah,
Really?
but we played like 188 games. There's so many things to remember. But this one was
nonetheless,
really fun. I really enjoyed it. Really want to play it again. Because it was a nice, different kind of game for us. We don't really have stuff. And it's so smooth that some of the sharpness of like, mess with you doesn't like hurt so bad, you know?
Yeah, it's good. Hastatania was good, though.
Oh, man, Darwin Journey on the show, brother. Look at it go. Don't worry about it. We played Her Story.
We played Her Story. This is a cool kind of set collection game. Got a little bit of like kind of Splendor-ish vibes to it as well. But this is a game where you are collecting awesome women from history, and you are essentially writing your books about them.
Yeah, studying them.
And so you're finding a book about like Malala Yousafzai and stuff like that, and you're like, and then they need certain resources to be put into play based off of who they are and what they did. So it could be like science resources or like books or interviews or things like that based off of like what they did. And you can take these cards, and these cards will then give you those resources, and then you can turn them in to put these women into your book, and that you essentially you wrote that page about them.
Yeah, they become a chapter of your book. You're writing like an 8-chapter book ultimately.
And then those, once they're in there as chapters, they can do a couple different things. Sometimes they'll kind of like Splendor, they'll give you like resource, like now you always have one of these. Always love that. Sometimes they'll give you ongoing abilities where like these kinds of things are now cheaper, or you get these kinds of bonuses, or they could be end game scoring. And you're trying to build a book of 8 chapters, and then when you do, you do your end game scoring, and then you win or lose, and it's really, really cool. And then on the back of all of these cards, there's information about all these women, and it's super, super cool.
Yeah, really
and
cool.
they just went about it in like a really awesome way. They had all these different teachers from all over the country and the world, like suggesting people you put in. So they had this really cool network of people, and they had like students doing all the research for it. It's a really cool project in general.
All told, like the project, from start to finish is really cool, really collaborative. And it's a great educational resource. I think like anyone who teaches history in K through 12 schools should have this game because it's fun, it's easy,
simple game,
and it's a great way to learn about people, especially if you're talking about Jane Goodall or whatever. It's just like, well, pull out that card and gamify your learning.
It's super cool.
Super awesome.
Yeah,
so
really fun
stoked
game.
this game exists.
Tabletop Alliance. By the way, Tabletop Alliance sends games to schools.
Yes.
Sent out 2 cases of Her Story at the beginning of the month.
Yes.
Right? There you go. See?
Thank you for doing that. That's exactly what should be done.
You play Inside Job. This is that weird trader trick-taking game? Is this the one?
Yes, it's a trick-taking game.
I want to play this game so badly.
We have to play it. It'll probably be at Gen Con. I'm sure it's out now. This game is bananas. So it's a trick-taking game. And you are either like an insider, you're a double agent type person, or you're like on the good team, the FBI or whatever it is. Yeah. And you are trying to complete missions. And it's basically a little bit of the crew where it's like, hey, certain person, the second player needs to win a blue card or whatever it is. Like certain little things to do that you have to complete to win the mission. And if you're on the good team, you're trying to complete those missions. If you're on the bad team, you're essentially trying to win 4 tricks. If you win a trick, whoever wins a trick, they take a briefcase. And hopefully you complete the mission. So the good team needs to get like 6 missions or something.
Yeah.
So the thing that's interesting is, of course, we don't know each other's roles. And so if Nick, just by virtue, Nick's on the good team, okay?
I am.
We're seeing it.
I have to throw off.
Nick's on the good team, And Nick's just trying to complete the mission, but as it's played out, Nick has now won like 2 or 3 tricks.
Yeah.
And so he's got 2 or 3
Everyone's just like-
briefcases. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't trust you, man. What's your deal? Why do you keep winning tricks? And you're like, because we have to complete the mission. I'm like, likely story, bro. I don't like your face, you know? And so it creates paranoia everywhere. And it's really fun because you're like, what is going on? I know what I am. You don't know what you are.
Sounds really fun. I'm not
So
gonna lie.
halfway through the game, I was just like, I am freaked out right now. And it was super duper fun. So it's kind of got some crewness to it with the trick taking, but then adding in the traders and stuff. And then you can add in like special rolls and stuff to take it next level. It was a weird game. I really enjoyed it. I really want to play it again because I was so scared.
Awesome.
I was so scared.
Here for it. Here for it. We're gonna play Inventions. We played this game 5 times last week because we needed to play it a whole bunch before we recorded it.
Yeah.
This is the new Vital Lacerda game. We just had a playthrough come out. Make sure to check that out.
This week, please.
This game is on Kickstarter still right now as a time of recording this. And this is a new Vital Lacerda game where you are kind of inventing things through history.
Yeah, and you're presenting knowledge and
putting
ideas.
forth ideas. People then can invent those ideas and then innovate upon them and then share them to the world. It's a really cool game. Got a lot going on, so definitely a heavy game.
Yeah.
I mean, we both really liked it. I'm curious of where it'll land, kind of like the Vital Lacerda games. I will say that, like, I don't feel like it feels quite as thematic as a lot of his other ones.
A lot of people are commenting that.
Abstract.
I think as you play it, you start to see the ways that it ties into the thematics, but it's not as overt as like Kanban is so clearly thematic and mechanical and tied, link those together. This one is not quite so overt.
The theme is there, but like the mechanics aren't as ingrained in the theme as they are in a lot of other Vital Lacerda games.
Yeah, but it's a super fun game.
But it's really fun.
Just looks a mint, man.
Yeah, it's really good. It's heavier, but combos on top of combos. Every game is so different. We played it 5 times in 1 week. Really liked it.
I played again, so it shows you that. I play 5 times a week. I still play it again.
Play the Joan of Arc, the Orleans Roll and Write. This is if you like Orleans, check out this game. Because it feels like a 20-minute game of Orleans as a roll and write. It's definitely different. It's got some differences to it, but it still feels like you're doing Orleans stuff. And it's just really good. And then the Joan of Arc part is specifically for like the solo game, which I need to try. Yeah.
I mean, if it's the name is Joan of Arc, I mean the solo must be pretty solid to like be the personality of the game. I guess, you know.
Yeah, but Orleans great. This game is great.
It's just so Orleans, you're doing all types of things, but adds in those kind of combo wombos that you want in a roll and write type of game, or I guess in this game you're drawing out the chips and stuff similar to Orleans. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's
bomb good. Speaking of Vital Lacerda and Kanban, Kanban EV is really
it's my numero uno so far. I played at this point
of the year
4 Lacerda games.
Oh, Lacerda games?
It's my number 1.
Yeah, it's probably number 1 too. Probably at this point.
What? Top 10 game all time?
It might
probably.
This is a game where you're working in a car factory and you are building out cars. You need to get designs for cars. You need to get car parts. You need to build cars off the assembly line. And you need to test those cars and do a whole bunch of stuff. But it's very cool in terms of the thematics. I love the look of it. And it's a game, again, kind of like a lot of Vital Lacerda games. It takes you a couple games to get into it, but then you start seeing that, seeing the magic, and you start really seeing how you can work this game, and it is so much fun.
Yeah, this one, the theming is so strong, and it really helps you, I think, get the game down in a way that I really appreciate.
Yeah.
This is just a masterclass on, like, heavy mechanisms, theming, and, like, blending them together in a way that makes the game more intuitive. Incredible.
Yeah, it's...
incredible.
It's really, like I said, Mike's top 10 of all time. It's how good it is. I gotta play Last Light. Been trying to get Last Light played for like years now.
Forever, yeah.
This is a game by our good friend Roy Canaday of the Dice Tower. Made this game and has been prototyping and playtesting this game for years. They did a Kickstarter for it or a game found for it. And I think it's about to hit people's hands soon. But I finally got to play this game at Dice Tower West.
We don't need the metal cars. Okay.
I tracked down Roy and said, do you have Last Light here? Because I finally have a chance to play it. He said, yes, I do. We'll play it. But this is kind of a 4X game that you play in about an hour. You can play like 2 to 8 players. It still plays about an hour.
That's so crazy.
Because pretty much everything is simultaneous. There's like this cool 3D board with things spinning around in it.
Yeah, planets and stuff.
And planets. And yeah, because you choose an action. Everyone, for the most part, can do all those actions simultaneously. You're fighting each other. You're gaining resources from the planets. You're doing area control. It's a cool game. I don't think it's ever going to be like our kind of game because we don't love like 4X games that much. But it was very, very cool. And here's the thing: we played a 6-player game and it played like an hour. So Roy's telling the truth.
Yeah, I really want to try it. I just think that's so cool to do a big game like that in not the amount of time that those games almost always take.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
It's very cool. We finally got to play Last Will. We played this kind of like Autoplano earlier. We played this a long time ago.
Back in the Game House
We're counting
days,
it as
man.
new again.
Yeah.
Last Will is the prequel to the Prodigals Club. The Prodigals Club is another wonderful game. But Last Will is a game where your uncle is died, and you are trying to get your uncle's inheritance by having the least amount of money.
Yeah, you wanna be as poor and destitute as possible to take that loot. So you are just burning through your cash
as fast as possible. Yeah, and you're getting getting real estate. You're buying real estate super high, trying to sell it super low. You're doing all these activities. Like you're gonna go out to dinner, but you're gonna bring your horse to the table because that's gonna cost more money. So you're just trying to blow this money. And so it's like it could be the other way around. You could be doing all of these things. You could be buying low, selling high, and try to get money. It could ultimately be more or less the exact same game.
Right.
But doing it this way makes it so much more fun.
Exactly. Like mechanically, it's not really that different because you're just doing worker placement stuff. And a standard game would be the other way around, which would be fine. But the simple fact that you're trying to trash your life
That's why
is
theme matters.
exactly why theme matters. I'm like, that is so dope.
Well, we played this game a long time ago, and it was frankly too heavy for us. And now we played it again. And I'm like, this is like a medium weight game. It's not even that heavy, and it's very, very fun. We finally picked up. I still like Prodigals Club more, but Last Will get played a lot more. I feel like in the end, you'd probably like Last Will more.
Probably. I don't know. We'll have to find out. We'll have to do a side by side.
Yeah, we really should. They're both very,
They're
very
both
good,
so
though.
awesome.
Very, very good.
Both so awesome.
You had to play Lumen.
Lumen, I played this with Jamie from Frosty the Meatball on Board Game Arena. This is a 2-player, and I think maybe you can solo it as well. Roll and write area control game.
Which is wild. That's a sentence.
Yes.
Before.
Yes. It's based off the kind of infrastructure. It's by Bruno Catala. It's based off the infrastructure of Trek 12. It's the same kind of thing where you're rolling dice and you roll these 2 dice. You can either choose the high die, the low die. You can add the 2 dice together to get the sum of the die, multiply them or subtract them, and I think divide them. And you're going to do one of those things to get a number, and you're going to add it into a kind of a little area of bubbles and stuff. And you're going to try to create areas of the same number or runs a sequence of numbers.
Yeah.
And if you add on to a run of numbers, you get to, I think, move your troops around and activate their abilities. And if you add on to or create a new group of the same number, you get to add troops to the map.
Yeah.
So you're kind of doing stuff. You're trying to get control of certain areas, which will be worth certain points. There's certain objective areas where if you get control of an area over here, you get like this other token that might give you an ability or endgame points and stuff. That's how Jamie snuck a victory. She did all the objectives. I did none of them. And you're activating those abilities and stuff. I want to play this in real life. I think it's a really interesting idea for a roll and write. And I'm curious to see more of kind of how it all functions. But it was really interesting. Try it on Board Game Arena. They have a tutorial and everything.
Yeah.
I want to try it in real life to get a better sense of like, oh, is this something that I really want? But it was really cool. The art's really cool and stuff. I think it's made vintage to trade art.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Seems cool.
So want to try it again for sure. And I don't know if it's like out in person or what. But
yeah. We're cruising through. Mike, Marvel Age of Heroes. You got to play.
Is bad.
You did not like it, Mikey.
Don't play it. I did not like this game at all.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't, like, we try not to, like, just slam games and stuff. There will be an audience for this. It's like a worker placement game where you're playing as, like, kind of a pair of heroes, like Wolverine and Jubilee and stuff.
Yeah.
I've honestly forgotten most of it, to be honest. I remember being very frustrated because I felt like there's so many turns where I, like, do something and it just does nothing. You're, like, kind of fighting sentinels and different stuff, and you're all sort of, like, working together. But it was just so much work. You do all these things to do, like, this little thing, and I was just like, this is a lot, and as a result, the game went on forever. I did not like this game. I cannot recommend it. It's a shame because the art stuff and all that's cool. It fizzles out in the final rounds. It fizzles out halfway through, and then like there was a point where like, I think the big bad or something comes out. It's just like we're all like, we have a long way to go, and like this is not. If it was a 45-minute game, maybe it'd be cool, but it just.
Didn't work for you.
Did not work.
Yeah. And from everyone else who played that game, they're all none of them like it. yeah, it was real.
It's supposed to be Marvel Waterdeep, right? Yes. I think it's the same designers or something, but.
Yeah. We're going to play Marvel Remix, which is a great game. This is the Marvel version of Fantasy Realms. It's very, very cool. I still probably prefer Fantasy Realms because it's a little bit simpler, but I do really like the Marvel version. I do want to pick it up if we when we see it
totally
somewhere.
Worth getting, for sure.
So Fantasy Realms is where you're basically trying to make the best hand of like 7 or 8 cards.
Say 7 cards.
7 cards you can.
Same here.
On your turn, you can either draw a card at the top of the deck and then discard down to the table, or take one of the discards that are down the table into your hand and then discard some down the table. That's it. That's all you're doing.
Yep.
And a lot of cards will work off each other. Like for this one to be like Thor or whatever, I'm not sure if they say, but like for every Asgardian you have, this card is going to be worth 5 more points than it already is. So you're trying to just make this really cool. And this one adds like villains. Like you have to have a villain somewhere in your hand.
Yeah.
And they can be like bad or good.
They're kind of the only negative cards that will make you lose points. Everything else is either neutral or positive, which I think is like a nice change from Fantasy Realms, where a lot of cards will punish you if you don't do stuff right. But there's just a little bit too much iconography. It's not going to get gamers down, but if you're playing with like a newer group, Fantasy Realms is easier to do that with. There's still kind of a lot in Fantasy Realms too. But here there's just like a couple extra icons that are like additional things, and it created a little more confusion. But again, would absolutely get this. And we only played it the one time, so it's like with more familiarity.
Sure, for sure.
And I love like the Marvel characters versus like the generic fantasy of Fantasy Realms. I'd rather have Marvel characters. I wish they just kept it a little simpler to make it really on the same level as Fantasy Realms, and not try to like add on to it. It's like I don't need that. I don't need
that. Good game though.
Yeah.
You got to play Meadow. I have not played it yet, but Mike's played it.
I have. Meadow is really fantastic. It's a game where you're building out kind of like different columns of cards, and you're sort of always need to play a new card by like eating other things or consuming or whatever. You need to have certain ecosystems in place to play these cards, and you can kind of play a bug into this sort of like biome card. And then once you have some bugs, you might be able to play a bird, because that bird's going to eat that bug. Boom. You might be able to play a bigger animal because they're going to eat that bird. And so you're kind of playing these things out so you can hopefully build out these columns and create sort of a balanced ecosystem that way. It's super interesting. It has the kind of quadropolis card drafting thing where I'm going to put a little marker with a 3 on this end, so I count 1, 2, 3 cards in, and that's what I get. It was just really interesting to have to create and then kind of recreate a display of cards in front of you that allows you to play the next card.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really interesting idea.
It seems really
the art's
cool.
amazing.
Art's good.
Really cool game.
Yeah,
really
I
cool
cannot
game.
wait to try it. We played Millie Fiori. This game's great. This game is really good. It's a Reiner Knizia game. It's really beautiful too. And this is a game where you're going to be playing on a card, and you get to put one of your translucent diamonds out somewhere on the board that's going to match that card. So it's going to be some kind of symbols. And there's different portions of the board that all kind of work differently.
Different areas of the town.
Yeah, different areas of the town. They're all going to score differently. So you're going to put out a thing, and you're going to score. You're always going to be scoring points, doing stuff, and they all work differently. And it's so, hey, Mohammed, thank you so much.
Thank you for the super chat.
Gosh,
wow.
Thank you. Sorry, we'll take a quick break to talk about the super chat. Thank you guys for the amazing content. Much love and many thanks. All the smiles you brought for viewers. Mohammed, thank you so much.
Thank you
we
so much.
appreciate you for that $20 super chat. Dang,
Wow.
thank you so much.
Yeah. That's a good way to
lovely.
break up the rhythm. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate
Millie
that.
Fiori is worth $20. It's worth more than that. It's great.
I want to get this game so bad. I think
incredible.
DeBeer has it over here.
I think so, yeah.
Thanks, DeBeer.
It's really good. We played it 2-player. I want to try other player counts. At 2-player, it was very, very open, which I personally don't mind.
Yeah.
But I think at 3 and 4 would be interesting because there'd be a lot more competition.
Yeah.
But I think I'd like it both ways, ultimately.
Yeah.
But Millie Fiori is
I think 3 would be a really sweet
good.
spot.
Yes, I totally agree.
There's an expansion coming for it, even better. Millie Fiori is amazing.
Indeed. Again, Mohammed, thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. My Name GMT is a game that I played recently. I think it's a 1 versus all game. I don't think it's 2-player specifically, but it's a 1v all that I played 2-player. Yeah. This is a like abstract.
Space is on fire.
Yeah, this is an abstract game where basically it's hide and seek. There's the player who is kind of hidden on the board, and they're moving around, so it's hidden movement. And I was kind of these agents, and you're kind of moving around and investigating stuff to kind of similar to like a stop thief. Trying to get on the trail and figure out that, like, based on certain icons they've moved through, like palm trees, for example, the board is kind of this abstract thing that shows a couple of symbols on each of the spaces.
Right.
If you kind of ask the right questions, like, have you moved through a billboard? They'll show a billboard they moved through recently. You might be able to pin down, like, well, if they've moved through these things, they can only be in this little area over here. And you kind of try to, like, zero in and
seems cool.
and capture them. I got very close to capturing them. That was the base game. There's a bunch of stuff that can get added.
Right.
It's based off this like graphic novel that's really popular and stuff. It's not going to be my kind of game, but I thought it was really interesting, and I got really into it by the end because I got really close to capturing the baddie. And I'm curious what the other things get added to it. It's really cool.
Said the co-op version of Mind Management is super nice.
Oh,
good to know. Good to know.
Okay, I'm curious, but it's a really interesting game.
You gotta play the Mind Soulmates. It's like a 2-player Mind, right?
No, it's a. You can play multiple players, but it's a variation on the Mind where basically every round you're going to have somebody who's the seer, so they're going to be able to look at a certain amount of the cards they're going to be dealt out, and so it's not quite like everyone gets 1, everyone gets 2. You deal out X amount of cards as evenly as possible. So the seer's going to be able to look at, like, say 2 cards, and they're going to be able to communicate one of those cards, the number of one of those cards. So you can say, like, hey, we have a 43 on hand, plus the deck is now only 1 to 50. So it's harder because a lot of things are more 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so you have a bit of information, then you deal out the cards, and so we all know one bit of information, and maybe I don't have the 43, so I have a 27. So it's like, okay, now I have 2 bits of information. I know there's a 43, I know there's a 27. And so it gives you a little bit to go off of. And then if you fail that round, you basically get the cards back. The seer now sees all the cards. They write down a second bit of information, re-deal stuff out. So now we have 2 things that we have written. I've now personally seen 2 different numbers, so you have more information to go off of. But it adds the difficulty by only having 1 through 50, so it's much harder because there's a lot of those directly sequential numbers.
Cool.
I thought it was a great version of the Mind. I'd play this over basic Mind for sure.
Indeed.
I thought it was really fun.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
You played Mind Up.
This is a brand new game that's on Board Game Arena that's really fun. You're kind of building these sets out by playing out cards. So if you play out cards, in a 3-player game, there's like 3 cards that are up for grabs. And you put them in from low to high. And then you play out a card secretly. And then when you all reveal your cards, if you play the lowest card, you're going to take the first card in the display. If you have the middle highest card, and the cards are 1 through 60, you'll take the middle card. If you have the highest card, you'll take the highest card and stuff. You're going to collect that card, and then those 3 played cards become the cards in the market. And as you add these different colors into your area, different rounds, the first card you play in your area might only be worth 1 point. The second card you play might be worth 5 points. So I might have a bunch of greens in my hand. So like I'm gonna try to collect green cards, but I got to get a different color card first, so I can make sure that my greens are the most valuable. And then the way that you're trying to bid, essentially, to take the middle card, I'm like, well, I got to play like a mid-level number, but the card I play also becomes the next card in the market. So there's a lot of fun little things like that. I thought it was really fun, really fun game. Works great on Board Game Arena.
Interesting, highly very cool. Yeah. All right, awesome,
cool game.
Love to see that. We got to play Monster Hunter World.
Wow.
We've got to play this a couple times, and Monster Hunter World is a game where you're hunting monsters based off the video game Super Mario World.
You know?
This is a game based off the game Monster Hunter, and you are hunting big old monsters. This is a cool game because I really liked this game a lot.
Yeah.
Because it kind of takes, this is by Steamforged Games, they kind of have these big games where you have like these big quests or all these different things, and then you eventually a lot of times come down to a big boss fight. But this game is just the boss fight. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Basically, you do like a little bit of questing, but it's like 5-10 minutes. Mostly going to give you a little bit of resource, a little bit of story kind of thing. And then you get in and you just start fighting big old monsters. Just a boss battle. It's just a big boss battle, but it got this very interesting kind of like fatigue track where when you're playing these cards to do damage to these monsters, you're having to put them on this track. But when you fill this up, you basically can't do anything. And so you're constantly trying to get things off of this track. And the game is, because you're fighting, like, I mean, like, some of the minis are literally like this big. They're humongous.
They're bananas.
So it's like you're fighting huge monsters. So the whole point also on top of that is to basically not take damage. Because you're constantly trying to dodge out of the way, but dodging puts cards on these fatigue track as well. I really like this game because, one, it's relatively simple for a Steamforged game.
Yeah.
It's relatively quick for a Steamforged game. It's like an hour for each fight. And it's just a stripped-down boss battler with a cool card system. I actually really liked it a lot.
Yeah, me too. There's like this kind of idea of like strategically feinting in the game. You might want to be, get knocked out.
Because it clears your row.
Yeah, it clears your row, and you can get knocked out once and come back and stuff. So it created interesting decisions and
like,
stuff.
I'm taking one for the team.
Yeah, taking one for the team.
Right
the card play was cool. Yeah, I actually thought it was really great for this kind of game, like big minis.
Yeah, if you like giant, huge monster minis, it's very good for that
really
too.
fun.
Very cool. I liked it. We played Motor City. We actually played Motor City. You had already played Motor City. I played this the first time yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
This is in the same line of like Fleet the Dice game, Three Sisters, Motor City, and then the new one, which is called something. But they're kind of similar-ish in terms of like...
French Quarter.
French Quarter, that's what it is. And you are kind of combo-tastic roll-and-write game. This game, you're rolling out these dice to be put on this blueprint, and you'll draft a die. You'll get to do an action. and then you get to put that die somewhere onto your board and do the action where you put it.
Yes.
And then each player will get 2 dice. There'll be 1 die left over, and then everyone gets to use that die. That's kind of one of the main things with these kinds of games. There's always going to be 1 left over that everyone then gets to do.
Correct.
And you are working in a car plant, and you're like working in sales and production and engineering, and you're basically just bumping up a whole bunch of different tracks. But then you bump up this, and this allows you now to do a test drive action. And then boom, and then now you get to mark off this thing over here. It's just a whole bunch of bonuses all over the place. It's really fun.
Yeah, I like this better this time around than the first time I played it with Atlas there in chat and stuff. And I didn't mind it, but I was just like, oh, you know, that's fine. And then I played it yesterday. I was like, no, I actually really like this. You know, if you like a fleet, if you like Three Sisters and stuff,
yeah,
you will like this. It's got similar stuff with the combo chaining stuff.
Yeah, and like Fleet, we definitely played kind of Fleet out, and I think Motor City eventually would get to the point where it's like, okay, we've played it enough, but it's like, it'll get plenty of plays before to make that game worth it. I thought it was really fun. And I like the theme a lot. I like car
and like now we're just into collecting the series of these games anyway, so that's a fun thing.
We're gonna play Mountain Goats. I originally played this. Actually, I played this with Slivers, who's in chat in Minnesota with Suze. And this is a game where you are mountain goats climbing up these different numbers. You are rolling dice, and then there are numbers, I think 5 through 10 or something like that. And you are then get to, if you rolled like a 7, you can move your goat up the 7. You're basically trying to get to the top of the mountain, which is going to allow you to gather these cards, which are then going to be worth points.
You want to stay on top of the mountain, because you're at the top of the mountain, you roll more 7s, you start collecting.
And you can keep bumping the top of the mountain, but then once someone else gets to the top of the mountain, they kick you down to the bottom of the mountain. Super, super simple.
Imagine it'd be a headbutt.
Yeah, with these horns, you kidding me? But All Play does these kind of games, like Sequoia's another one.
There's a bunch now in this
and they're all these
box
tiny little
line.
boxes, great travel games. It was really, really fun. Really cute, like colorful, kind of simplistic art that I really like.
Yeah.
Mountain Goats was great.
Yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of Cant Stop vibes.
A little bit,
with trying to bump those tracks up and stuff. But yeah, really fun.
Mike has played the My City, the roll, right?
So good. It's so good, man.
It's very good.
This is fantastic. If you like My City, this will take you through like a little campaign as well, like the game. But it just feels a little more with My City, which I'm currently playing through again, and I don't mind, but I feel like you can get into a runaway leader problem potentially. And My City, the roll and build, is just a little bit easier to keep up because your individual scores in each games count for their scores, not just you get like a progress point for winning. And it takes you through kind of the chapters that you'll go through in My City. There's also the ability to roll a 1, so you can fill in one singular square, which is impossible in My City, and that single square makes life
Your
nice.
whole life.
Yeah, this is really, really good.
James said, recommend playing if you've played through base My City?
Absolutely, 100%.
It's, from what I can tell, yes.
100%. And I could play and replay this over and over again, no problem. I think probably this is a superior game.
I can't wait for My Islands. Cannot wait.
Cannot wait.
We're going to play My Shelby. This is a game by Praise B.
Praise be that.
Praise B, Matt Dunstan, Phil Walker Harding. We're going to meet Phil Walker Harding very soon. I'm very excited.
I'm so excited.
But nonetheless, My Shelfie is a game where you're building out a shelf. In your shelf, you can have books, you can have board games, of course. You can have like cats, plants, things like that. Yeah. And you're drafting from the central board here, and you're drafting kind of in a line, and then you have to put them in one column. But they have these 3D kind of like Connect 4 shelves, and you're literally dropping them down into this thing, and you're making like columns, and you're trying to get groups of the same thing. You want a bunch of cats together, a bunch of books together. But then on top of that, kind of like Role Player, the game, you'll also have some kind of secret goal where you want to have certain things in certain spots on your shelf. There's also public goals you can go for. It's really fun. Again, Praise B doesn't miss. You know
Praise B doesn't miss. I like the pairing up with Matthew Dunstan as well for making puzzly type games. Yeah. It's super duper fun. It's got a great toy factor. It's a great, like, if someone's played Connect 4 and they haven't played a modern board game, try this out. There's a few more rules and stuff, but like
they can handle it probably.
They can probably handle it, and it's a fun thing of dropping stuff.
The gimmick is great. Talk about a great gimmick. Love it. Yeah, love it. Absolutely great game. I'm gonna play Mystic Paths. I played it with you, right?
We played it on stream. Yeah,
that's right. Mystic Paths. I had heard about our good friend, one of our best friends, Matthew Jude, told us about this game.
Yes.
A while ago at this point, but this is kind of like a So Clover, a word association game where you're making out this board, and it has a whole bunch of different prompts on it, like the Terracotta Army, the, bread, whatever, just a whole bunch of different words.
Yeah.
And then everyone is given a path that they have to walk through this thing.
Yes.
It's like, I'm going to go boom, 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 all the way through. And then you have clue cards.
to freaking feta cheese to
Yep.
yeah.
Really weird path. I don't really get the theme of Mystic Path. I don't know. It's a mystic world, whatever.
Theme.
Basically, and then you're playing out these clue cards that are hopefully trying to get people to get you in the right direction. So it's a co-op game. So like if the next one's like Terracotta Army, I could put like Fragile because like they're made out of clay, right? So it's like Fragile, like okay, because at this point I'm here, I could go to any of these ones. They're like, oh well, Terracotta Army is kind of fragile, so maybe there, and then they guess that, and then I get to move on. If they don't guess that, I stay where I am. I really like this game. I think it's great.
It's super hard because you are limited by the cards you have.
Yes.
So the clues you often give, and you can sort of play it opposite, saying that like it's the opposite of this thing.
Yes, you can say it's not fragile.
But you're limited to the cards you have, so you have to try to make do, and it's really tough. But it's a fun if you like clue giving games. It's really fun. It's a super weird theme.
Yeah, I don't get it. There's also minis in the game that do not need to be there. I honestly wish they were just cubes because it makes the game harder.
Yeah.
But Mystic Path is really, really fun. Atlas said, we should all be thankful that Phil Walker Hardy uses his powers for good because he could have easily become an elite assassin with the ability to never miss. It's good.
Absolutely. Could have been a freaking Marvel villain instantly.
We played a whole bunch of games of Nana. Nana is a game that's going to be coming over to the States.
I think it's on BGA now. It's a game called Trio.
Yeah, but this is a game originally from Japan. This is essentially Gamers Go Fish. I freaking love this game. I love it so much. It's Gamers Go Fish, where you are trying to win 3 challenges. You win a challenge by finding 3 of the same number out on the board. So 3 3s, 3 4s, that kind of stuff. And so you can ask people, Mike, what's your lowest card? And then Mike has to reveal his lowest card. 2. You can ask someone's lowest card or their highest card, and they have to put it out. And then if I can find 3 of the same, you're good. So like, oh, Mike has a 3. I say, what's your lowest card? They put down a 4. I lose that challenge because I didn't find 3 of the same. But now we all know that there's a 3 here, there's a 4 there. And you're just gathering information, and it's just so much fun. It's this tiny little box, and this is a travel game we're going to bring everywhere, play with everyone because it's an absolute blast.
It's so fun.
Yeah, played it a whole bunch with a whole bunch of different people. It's always gone over great.
Always gone over huge.
Spiel's Jars nominee. Next Station London. We just played this on BGA. It worked pretty well on BGA.
Yes, it works really well on BGA and stuff. And you picked it up, I think,
in Minnesota.
In Minnesota, yeah. So this is a roll and write game where in each of the 4 rounds, you're going to have a different color of pencil, which will just get passed around the table. So everyone will use each of the colors. And you're building out subway routes and stuff. There's rules. You can't just like cross over another route willy-nilly. You can via stations and stuff if there's enough openings. And in each round, you're trying to get to as many of the kind of like different districts as possible and also cross the River Thames as many times as possible to kind of maximize the scoring for that round. But you also want to leave yourself able to do stuff in the future rounds with the different colored pencils. It's a really fun, kind of simple route building roll and write game. Highly recommend. Super fun. There's Next Station Tokyo now as well, which I'm Board Game Arena. I want to try that out. But really
good game.
Fun.
Good tough
really,
roll
really
I like it.
Yeah.
Played Anomalia. This is another small box kind of card game that we really, really like a lot.
It's good.
This is a game, it's kind of got some cartographer's vibes where you're going to have different scoring conditions that are going to score multiple times throughout the game, but not every round. So the first round would be like A and B are going to score, then B and C, then C and D, but they're all going to score at least 3 times. And you are putting out these square cards that you are putting out. You can build essentially a 6x6 grid. When you put out a card, you have to cover up at least one part of another card. And these cards are going to have different biomes on them, like, savannas, jungles, things like that. And then different animals like lions and gorillas and giraffes, things like that. And then all the scoring conditions are going to basically be like, you're going to get 2 points for every gorilla that's next to a lake. Or you're going to get 1 point for every penguin that's in a certain column or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're
all sorts of different stuff.
Yeah, and you're basically trying to score this. But again, there's a score multiple times throughout the game, but you're constantly having to cover stuff up. So you have to be like, okay, I'm going to get rid of this gorilla even though it's next to a lake because it's only going to be worth 1 point, whereas this is going to be worth 2 points, or maybe that one's not going to score again. So now I can cover these things up because it doesn't matter. I really, really like it. I absolutely adore Anomalia. I think it's so much fun.
Yeah, I think it's so fun that you have to kind of cover stuff up, so you're sort of always breaking apart your biomes, rebuilding stuff for whatever's valuable right now. Super good game.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's pretty small.
Yeah, really good. We played Obsession a couple times here. Go down to the pile. We play some croquet.
Well, we'll play this with Atlas this weekend. This is a game where you are you're a British family that's
socialite. Yeah,
you used to be kind of more highfalutin, and you've sort of fallen on harder times. You're trying to get your groove back.
Yeah.
And you do this via events. You're hosting events and stuff on your grounds, and you're trying to fix up your house and stuff, get your reputation back, get your money flowing again.
Yeah.
And so you're playing out cards and stuff. You're hosting events which will make you play a certain amount of certain types of cards from your hand. And then you gain favors and stuff, which might be money, reputation, more cards, which are guests that are coming to visit and stuff like that. And each season, there's sort of leading up to a courtship, you're trying to incur the favor of the Fairchilds. You want to kind of have a lot of high-value tiles of certain categories. There's like, sporting things and prestige tiles and service tiles and stuff. And you're also making use of your various service members and stuff, your butlers and things, and your valets, because a lot of these people are needy and they need to have their valet with them at all times.
I must have a butler with me if I'm going to go down
and so you're trying to. It is a tricky balance at times to balance your servants, your cards and stuff like that to be able to fulfill the needs of this activity that you're trying to do. But again, trying to get cash, reputation, more people, flipping up and upgrading those tiles every time you use one, it upgrades to be able to get as many points as possible and stuff. It's really fun.
It's super
This is one game that's interesting. There's like a shorter and a longer version, and I now for sure can say that I would only recommend the shorter version.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I just like the shorter version better.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I really, really like Obsession. It doesn't feel like any other game. It feels very, very unique in terms of what it does. It's bonkers.
Which is cool. Really
cool. Oh my goodness, you picked this up while you were in England.
Make sure you're keeping those thumbs up here in chat if you're new and watching. I did. I picked up this and I think both the expansions.
At least one.
Something like that. Anyway.
There's 3 boxes.
There you go.
So,
I picked this up at AirCon and stuff because I'd always wanted to try it and stuff. There's the Expeditions in Newdale, which is sort of all the Oh My Good stuff together and maybe slightly different. But I saw this. I was like, well, these are very portable. And I was on the roads. Like, well, I'll grab these. I can put them in my pocket. And I played a fair bit of it solo. And it's interesting. It's a decent game. I played with Karen a few times. And I feel like you can have turns where you sort of don't get anything done, which doesn't feel great.
Classic.
But we started playing with the expansion materials, which basically make it a campaign. And we like that better. I like playing with the campaign because you get certain goals you're going for and stuff. And you're trying to build up these production buildings and sort of chain together productions to create different resources. And the way it uses cards and stuff is really kind of cool. So I like it. I want to show it to you for sure.
Yeah, totally.
But I think it's better with the expansion. You can solo it. So I plan to play through it solo at the very least.
Yeah. Danielle asked, how many of these games from your shelf of shame? Probably not that many of them, honestly. A lot of these are 101 new to us games, but probably we got through a little bit.
We'll try to announce it if it is from our shelf of shame.
You had to play On Mars again. We played this before, but it had been a very long time.
Yeah, we played it right when it came out, so it's effectively new to me again.
I like it.
I liked it a lot. It's another Vital Lacerda game. This one is interesting because you are claiming technologies and stuff like that, but I can use your technologies and you can use mine. You get a benefit if I use yours and stuff, but it doesn't hurt me to use yours, which I appreciate. I like games like that. And so you are trying to sort of terraform and colonize Mars and make it habitable for you. And you're kind of cycling back and forth between being in space and going down to the planet. And as you kind of go, the frequency at which you can decide to jump back and forth, they happen fewer and far between, but you probably have enough infrastructure to stay on Mars and do stuff. But you have basically worker placement spots on both halves of the board, but you have to be in space to make use of those things to get stuff, get resources, to get access to technologies to bring down to the planet and terraform and build out buildings.
Want to try this one again.
It was really cool. I really liked it a lot. It's a really neat theme. I want to try it again while it's sort of like semi in my brain, but really liked it a lot.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, really cool theme.
We played Oros earlier this year. Oros is a very interesting game where you are essentially kind of worshiping these big demigods, and you are moving the world. You're on a board, but the board essentially is a globe, and so you can kind of move. So you're moving land masses around and slamming them together. And if you slam like a level 1, a level 2, boom, they make a 3.
Yeah.
And so
like
you're
tectonic plate stuff.
Yeah, you're kind of like slamming them together. But again, the board kind of wraps around because you're technically working on a round Earth, even though Earth is flat. We all know that. And so, but you're slamming together, and then you're essentially want to get to the point where something is a 4, because then it becomes a mountain, right? No, it's when you put two fours
together to become a mountain.
That's what it is. And then on these mountains, you can then build shrines. And you're building shrines to, again, worship these kind of demigods you're going for. And it's really fun. It's a tough puzzle because the way you have to, think about the wrapping everything around is like tough. You're like, okay, you can move this, and then it's kind of got like Castell vibes in the sense where you have all these rules, but then you can constantly upgrade stuff, and then essentially start breaking all of those rules, which is really fun. I really like this game. It's really cool. And I want to kind of explore it some more because it was really fun.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Great production,
really interesting.
Good look to it,
yeah, it's a hard one to explain because it's just like, well, these things wrap and
it's
stuff.
It's hard to wrap your head around, yeah. But it's
you're trying
very
to acquire knowledge, which I also think is a really cool idea.
Yes.
In games, if you're ever like the goal is to acquire knowledge, that's gonna be a cool theme to me.
Yeah, totally. We played Ovation recently. We did a playthrough of this. This is out, I think, still on Kickstarter right now.
I believe so.
And yeah, this is a game where you are famous composers and you are getting different patrons, you're getting different music that you are then performing, and this game is kind of crazy because you can combo together like whole, kind of like inventions we were talking about earlier. You're doing whole actions. You're like, you have this action, and then above it now you've put this card down that now allows you to do this whole action, which then can allow you to trigger more stuff, and you can put together like essentially take like 3 or 4 turns in a row.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's nuts.
And yeah, so you need to have these music notes that you gain from performing music to be able to do these mega chains, but you can put together just the engine build aspect of it is really cool while still being a pretty short game. So I just like to build these like bananas
bonkers
combos.
engines.
Some of those turns you're going to take at the end of the game are just obscene.
Yeah, really fun though. It's a cool. I love the music theme. I wish more games were based around music, any kind of music, whatever.
Music games.
It's so cool. And yeah, and then the designer is also one of the nicest people.
Yeah,
so.
super cool game. Definitely check it out. It's on crowdfunding right now.
Right now. We also you played Paperback Adventures. I still haven't played Paperback Adventures. Michael won't let me play it. He said, "Don't touch it. It's mine."
Don't even look at it. It's over there. Don't look at it. Don't look at it though. It's not over there. It's over there. But don't look at it. This is a solo. You can play it co-op and stuff, but it's mostly a solo word game where you are playing out words and stuff to battle against lackeys and then bosses as you go through 3 books. And that's you as an author. You are representing you having writer's block and trying to like get ideas for a story to write. And you're playing Slay the Spire. Yeah. It's heavily inspired,
and admittedly so, yes,
by Slay the Spire, where you are going to fight these bosses and stuff. The types of words you play and the way that you display them will either give you a bunch of defense and stuff or a bunch of attack, and depending on what the boss is going to do, they're showing what they're going to do, if they're going to block or attack or use their abilities or whatever. You see they're kind of telegraphing their attack. You're going to try to knock them down and stuff. And what's really fun is you can get items that you can use. You can gain energy in the rounds and stuff and use the energy to trigger your items based on your character, which will have their own kind of vibe, kind of Slay the Spire-ish. Yeah. You can get MacGuffins, which are just relics, and they will kind of give you ongoing abilities and things like that. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it seems really good.
It's so fun. I like playing it physically. You just lay out all the stuff. You get all these things in your marketed cards and stuff like that. There's also a fantastic app for this game. Probably would recommend doing that because it takes care of some of those bookkeeping things for you. It's a super cool game.
It seems
It's so cool. You'll always choose a letter from your word to activate their ability, but then you lose that card, so you kind of are on a timer. Like you can only battle so long before you run out of cards. Super cool game.
Yeah, it seems awesome. Played a quick game of Parkade at BGG Spring with some lovely people.
Yes.
This is a game kind of like there's one person who's like the judge, and you're trying to park these cards. These cards are going to be words at prompts, and then you basically have to like put this word down and then convince the judge that it's like it makes sense, right? You're like, this makes sense because da-da-da-da, and they have to say either yes or no. It's very simple. This is kind of like those kind of apples and apples games where you have one judge and they're kind of picking stuff. It's not really our kind of game, but for non-gamers, it's great, and we were playing with some really lovely people, so the experience was wonderful because we were playing with lovely people.
Didn't care so much that the game was good or bad. It was just fun to play with people.
Play Point City. This game is great. This is, again, kind of a Splendor-ish kind of game. Yep. But this is the kind of sequel to Point Salad, although it's not really like Point Salad.
It's just artistically similar.
Yes. But basically, you're going to be drafting out cards from this grid. You can draft out 2 adjacent cards. And then those cards are going to give you, you can build those cards, or they can give you different resources to, again, build these cards. And these cards, a lot of times, are going to give you permanent resources. Like now you have this permanent thing. Certain ones are going to score you things, and it's really good. Again, it takes something like a Splendor, gives it something else, because I think the drafting in this is more interesting than it is in Splendor with the chips. And I really liked Point City a lot.
Yeah, I prefer its theme over Splendor and stuff. It's very Splendor-ish in that you kind of get, so you can instant build things and stuff, but I think it's just really fun. And the way you draft your cards from this grid is inherently interesting.
I just realized we play this in a series of quick videos because this was part of a Kickstarter with Deep Dive. Deep Dive somehow didn't make it on this video.
Oh, we also played Deep Dive.
Deep Dive is also very good. But it was in the same Kickstarter. I don't know how the heck it didn't put on there.
Weird.
I played Powerline at BGG Spring. I really liked this game. Powerline is this game where someone is rolling out a bunch of different dice, a bunch of different colors, and then you are essentially putting the values of those dice in lines, power lines, on your board. And once you start one direction, you can only go in that direction. And on these different power lines has pip values. So you need to go like 1, 6, 4, 2, 6, 7, or not 7, 3, and things like that. And then when you're taking dice from up here, you can only take them on this end going this way or on this end going this way.
And they're all randomly rolled out, right?
And they're all randomly rolled out. So out here it could be like 1, 6, 2, 3, 6, that kind of thing. And you can only work on 3 of your power lines basically in any given round. So you're basically trying to fill out these lines with what was rolled and stuff. And it's very, very interesting. And there's also a whole situation where like sometimes you only put out a certain amount. It's a very cool game. It's kind of hard to describe, but I really, really liked it. And this is a game that we were talking to the BGG people, and they were kind of like, yeah, we don't know why no one's talking about this game.
Yeah,
it basically no one's even heard of it, basically, and it's really fun. I liked it a lot. I think we're going to play this with Lincoln on game night at some point.
I think
here.
so.
Yeah,
I think that's
so
the hope
hopefully
anyway.
we'll see a playthrough of it at some point over on BGG's channel, but it was really fun.
I want to try it real bad.
You played Koali?
Koale, yeah, this is an abstract game from Gigamic, and they do like Quarto and Corridor and stuff.
Oh,
all these
kind of
cute wooden abstract games. This is one where it's kind of Moncala style, where you're going to put down one of your color things, either that brown or yellow, of your little rocks, your little stones, which is made of wood, and you're putting it down, and then you're going to pick up the entire stack, and you're going to move and dropping off one stone on each space. You kind of move orthogonally around, and trying to get 4 of yours in a row. So you see like those 4 tan ones, for example, would be like, if that was your player color, you'd win. So it's just a really interesting game of like the way you cover up other people's progress. You might pick up things where you have a couple of yours in a stack, and so you're kind of trying to deliberately drop those off so you make those lines. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
It does a great thing of the Moncala stuff where it's not just on a rondelle in a circle. You can build it and go.
Love that.
I like this game a lot.
Quarter's a really wild game. Like, they make very interesting games.
I really want to pick that one up.
We played
Koale.
Scholars of the South Tigris.
It's
It's very good. It's incredibly good.
So good.
Garfield Games just crushes it every single time, basically.
They don't miss.
They really don't miss at this point.
All right now.
So Scholars of the South Tigris is a game where you are gathering scrolls and putting them in the houses of wisdom and then translating those scrolls with the use of different translators. But you're trying to translate all these scrolls into Arabic, but they are not coming in Arabic. They might be coming in like Hebrew. So you need to have a translator who speaks Hebrew to Sanskrit and then Sanskrit to Persian and then Persian to Arabic. And you can basically use translators to eventually get this Hebrew scroll into Arabic so that the scholars here can read it, basically. And everyone can have their own translators, but you can use each other's translators. It's a big thing of like kind of shared infrastructure that Garfield's really exploring right now, where if I bring a scroll to the House of Wisdom, Mike then could translate that scroll. I'm just the one who brought it here. Mike might have translators, but I can use those translators. I'm just going to have to give him a gold if I do so.
Yeah.
And then you're bumping tracks and stuff, and you can manipulate your dice in all these like crazy ways. It's really good.
It's really, really cool. Yeah, I just think it does a lot of stuff. There's only 4 action types, but you can do so many different things. You're bumping up these tracks, which will give you income and abilities as you ascend those tracks. It's kind of like Gaia Project earlier, where it's like you want to be up on all of them.
Yes.
It's going to be very hard to do that.
You're not
but
gonna.
Each track is vitally
very
important.
Useful. Yeah.
So what do you prioritize over the other? It's a really cool game.
Really, really good. All right, I gotta play Sequoia.
Yeah.
Sequoia is another game by All Play, kind of like Mountain Goats. This is a game where again there's all these different trees around the board, and you're essentially trying to get like area majority on those trees. If you end up having that, you're rolling out dice and putting out your stuff on those different trees. If you have area majority, you'll collect that, boom. But there's a lot of times this game will come down to ties. There's gonna be a lot of ties, and then once all the things are given out, you then have to do all the ties. So you're rolling out dice, and again, as long as kind of like Can't Stop, as long as you can put something down, you can kind of keep going.
Okay.
And it's very, very simple, very, very cool. Again, got this really great look the Mountain Goats have. I really love this art style. Small little all-play game. This whole series of games they're doing are all really, really good. And so check out Sequoia. I liked it a lot. It was good.
Oh, I gotta try that one.
Yeah. We played Shinkansen Zero Kai.
Yes, this is a game where you're building out a train line in Japan ahead of the Olympics that happened there in the 50s.
You gotta get a train all the way out to Tokyo, yeah.
Yeah, trying to get a bullet train built up and stuff. This is one that, like, was interesting. It kind of came and went and didn't leave, like, much of an impression. We enjoyed what we did. You're building out these... We're all working on the same train track and stuff. You're trying to build up stations along the way in the various cities. And you kind of want to have... worked the most on certain things, and you're building out these cards on your train, which gives you like more actions you can do and stuff over a few rounds. It's just one that kind of came and went. Yeah, it's like it didn't leave much of an impression.
Not really. It was okay.
It wasn't bad, but just wasn't great.
Yeah,
which I was bummed by, but it was fine. You know.
We played Shipwrecks of the North Sea Redux. This is on Kickstarter right now. We actually just did a playthrough. Make sure you'll go watch it.
Check it out.
This is the new version of Shipwrecks of the North Sea. It's very, very different from the old Shipwrecks of the North Sea, and it's really, really good. This is a game where you're drafting out cards, and kind of like It's a Wonderful World, where Shem was very inspired by It's a Wonderful World, you're going to have to use all these cards, and at the very least, you could discard them to get essentially resources, and they all kind of work in all these different ways, and you're just trying to build longships, because that's mostly where you're going to get a lot of your points from.
Those are going to give you a lot of points. They're going to give you potential end game points and stuff. You can also build up buildings, which give you worker placement spots to put your workers. And the cool thing is, if you use your worker for a worker placement spot, you get that worker back. If you're spending them to work on longships, they go away because they're sailing on that ship now.
Exactly.
But you're trying to build up your resources to build these longships, which are the kind of the major projects you're doing. And every card can be trashed for a little ability. There's a lot of fun things to think about. You're kind of racing up these tracks and trying to have be in the lead in those tracks to get these heroes, which give you a couple other things you can do in the game. It's just a really fun, like, put your head down, try to be as efficient as you can with the cards you got.
As James just said, it was more multiplayer solitaire than I realized it would be. It is.
Yes, it is very much
no interaction. Like, you are just head down doing your own thing, which we like in games.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
It won't be for everybody for that reason.
It is definitely something to note. There's no interaction.
Very good. We had to play Ross, A Dance of Love. This is made by the same person who made Viticulture World. This is a game where you are dancers out on a dance floor, and you are trying to kind of pair up dances and fall in love a little bit, you know? But this is a crazy puzzle game where you have these discs that will have 6 dice on them, and then whatever, everyone has their own color, and then so you can only draft the colors that are facing to you. And you're trying to get certain pip values onto your dancers. You want them in certain color clothes, which are going to be your dice value. You're trying to get dandy sticks, which are kind of smacking to make noise and stuff like that. And you're trying to get certain colors of those, and you're trying to manipulate all these things. But then a couple times throughout the game, all of those things will turn, so everything's different again. And the puzzle, this is an absolute mind melter of a game.
Yeah.
But it's got a really cool theme.
It's a super simple game rules-wise. Yeah, really cool theme. But it's a super simple rule set game that the puzzliness of trying to get all these things together, and you want stuff to match. You want colors to match. You get all these bonuses if you do. It's super interesting. And there's but the actions are simple. The way you kind of gather little dress cubes or your dandy sticks and stuff.
Absolutely destroy your mind. Yeah. It's really, really fun. I like it a lot. I think they're shopping it around to a couple different people right now, trying to get picked up by a publisher. It's definitely going to get picked up by somebody.
I'm curious what the final product's going to look like.
It's really good.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the future of this game.
I gotta play Rear Window with Atlas in chat. Rear Window is kind of like a Mysterium-ish kind of game where one person is trying to get you to guess certain things in these different areas based off of Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. And so you are you have a bunch of birds and you're trying to kill these birds. And so,
something like that.
Something like that. I don't know how the game works. I don't.
Jimmy Stewart stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I've ever watched an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Right on.
And so. It's kind of Mysterium size where they're putting out these cards and you're trying to guess the people that go in the cards, the different items that go onto that spot. Because you're like, oh, they put out 2 blues, and this person is the kind of the blue person. They have a blue background. That must mean they're trying to point to that. They're kind of like, no, I was trying to point you towards the thing because there's music stuff. I wanted you to put the record player in there. And so, and then you can, a couple times throughout the game, ask certain questions like, is this certain thing correct? Am I on the right track? And they say yes or no. And you're basically trying to fill out everything correctly. It's really fun. We played it 2-player. It's a really, really fun 2-player game because you're kind of just like trying to get each other's heads.
Right in there.
And that Mysterium way where they're like, okay, they're just so fixated on color. Now I'm just going to start doing color stuff. And it worked really well. I thought it was a very cool game. Yeah. Very, very cool game.
Very cool.
I had to play Resurgence, another game I played in Minnesota with Slivers.
Oh, right. I was like,
this is kind of a post-apocalyptic worker placement game where you're getting different workers, and you can they kind of will do different things, can go certain places. You can also put them on your own player board. I thought it was cool. I didn't blow my hair back. I thought it was a cool game with like a cool look, but didn't feel like all that different than a lot of other of these kind of like worker placement games. But it was very interesting because, again, like your different workers could only go in certain places, and that was an interesting kind of puzzle. You're going towards objectives, things like that. It was cool. I don't really need to play it again, honestly, but I thought it was good.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Trying to pick this up. We're moving quick.
Played Rolling Heights, yeah. It's AEG, John D. Clare, John Sir D. Clare.
Sir John D. Sir Count Baron Clare.
Esquire. This is Rolling Heights. This is a game where you're building a city.
Yep.
You're building out buildings and stuff on kind of different foundational tiles you'll place out in this city, which is a series of boards that are assembled and stuff near the water. And you are rolling, the main gimmick of this game is you're rolling your meeples like they were dice.
Cool. Yeah.
And depending on how they land, if they're flat on their back, they're exhausted, not useful. If they land on their side, they're like kind of useful. If they land on their feet, they're like up and at them, ready to go. They're the most useful. Yeah. And a lot of these meeples will grant you resources like glass and wood and stuff, building materials, pardon me. Other ones will give you other special abilities and stuff, again, based on how they land. And there's a little bit of the push your luck from like a Cubitos where once you have a certain number of your workers are like ready to work, if you then roll and everyone's exhausted, they kind of strike you right. You lose like half your workers and stuff. It's not the end of the world, but it's like not ideal.
Yeah.
And you are using this to build up different buildings, which will give you victory points, bonuses, usually more workers, more meeples to use and stuff like that. I enjoyed this one. The one thing I've had with it is that it just feels like it goes on a little long.
Yeah.
And maybe with more plays that'll all speed up and stuff, but I enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, I do.
I like it. You're building out like almost with these like little Lego pieces. You're building these like little towers and stuff of certain heights to be able to complete the building. Certain heights of different towers of different colors. And I enjoy what you're doing, but yeah, I just feel like it goes on a little long.
It's good. I like it's good. I didn't think it was like, didn't put my hair back, not that I have any hair, but it was good. It was good.
Still solid.
You got to play Sagani.
I did. I played this on Board Game Arena. This is interesting. This is in those kind of, again, Uwe Rosenberg line of games, like a Framework, Nova Luna. But Sagani feels quite different from those ones because there's still like the kind of adjacency. But this one, you're going to put tiles out. They're going to be pointing in different directions to the diagonal, just above, below, to the sides or whatever, and showing different colors. And basically, if I have an arrow that's pointing straight up and it has blue, if there's any blue tiles directly above it, that's basically the arrow's pointing to blue and you see blue, you get to put a disc over and cover that part of the task. And there might be 1 to 4 arrows and stuff, and you need to complete those because if you do, you get your discs back. You only have a certain amount to use, and if you have too many kind of open projects and all these discs on your board, you start to have to take these discs that'll lose you points and stuff. And as you complete the tiles, they'll score you points right away. So it feels very different from the other ones, which I like a lot. Sagani's really interesting, but you can get kind of stuck and stuff if you're not if you're pulling bad tiles.
Indeed, cool. We played Sally Face Strange Nightmare. This is based off the game Sally Face, which is kind of like a point-and-click adventure video game.
Yeah.
And this is a kind of story-driven game where you're going, at least in the scenario we played, you're going around this apartment building, and you're kind of solving crimes, solving murders, and stuff like that. It was cool. It was one of those games where, like, this is not a game that we really need to play. No. But if you are, again, a fan of Sally Face, you don't really play modern board games, this game is simple enough to get you into these kind of like campaign games that are story-driven. And for like a beginner person into that, this game is great. We don't really need to play this game because it was just kind of basic and stuff like that. But it was, again, it's one of those games.
I don't think it was made for us, though.
It's not, and that's the whole point. And so I'm very happy this game exists. We just don't really need to play it because this game is going to get people into the hobby. We just don't really need to play it. But it was a good game. It was cool. We played Slackjack. This is a little social deduction game that's $9. I think it might still be on Kickstarter at this point.
It might still be, or it was anyway. And yeah, it's a little social deduction game where you are different roles on a pirate ship, and there's basically a captain each round who's going to be taking 1 or 2 players as their crewmates. And in addition to the role you have, there's a value of the card you have, and the captain's a 10 and stuff. You're trying to get as close to 21 as you can, kind of blackjack's kind of playing on that. But different roles want different things, like to get extra gold. You want to basically get as much loot as possible. So
you want to get to like, 5 first,
Yeah, so you might be a role where it's like you want to be the highest card amongst the crew members and stuff. If you're the highest card, you'll get an extra gold and stuff. If you're the captain, you want to choose a crew that's going to have as high a score as possible to get some gold and stuff like that. If you're Slackjack, you want to be selected by the captain to be on the crew, but then you're going to mutiny and take all the gold for yourself and stuff. And so people are basically campaigning, like, I would like to be on the crew. I think I can provide a lot. I have a high number.
Kind of like Avalon or Resurgence.
But no one can see what you have. So if you like those kind of standard Avalon type of resistance social deduction game, this one's kind of cute and fun in that area. We had a really fun time playing it because of the group. But it's not our kind of game,
but for how small it was, it's like $9, a little deck of cards.
Price,
I was like, this is great. For that, this is great. Yeah. All right, we'll keep on rolling here. You played Snack Time.
I did. This is a little roll and write where you're like monsters and sewers and you're trying to like take little snacks of people who are walking by over your grates. It was interesting. There's some like graphic design stuff I didn't love. I kind of dig it's all very purple, which is kind of cool. But it was kind of a roll and write that was just like a little bit, had a bit too much weirdness to it and stuff. So it wasn't one I need to revisit, but it was an enjoyable enough time.
Cool. There we go. We played Sobek, 2 players with the 2-player version of Sobek. We picked this up at
Dallas.
At Dallas. Yeah, and this is a game where you are it's got this interesting tile selection mechanism. It's kind of a set collection game, but essentially have this kind of onk in the middle, and you can basically, wherever the onk is facing, you can grab tiles from wherever they're facing. Yeah. And then those will then determine where you then have to turn the onk. And so it's this kind of interesting puzzle where you're like, oh, I don't want Mike to get another one of these because he already has a bunch of this. So I need to make sure I take something and make sure this onk is not facing towards that. And that did create a really interesting puzzle. I thought the game was good. I want to play it some more. I have a hunch that as I play this game a couple more times, I'm going to start liking it more. Because I was kind of very much like, it was fine when I played it. But I think I'm going to like it more as I play it.
I agree. I think a little more familiarity with all the types of tiles you have would be cool. There's also like a little expansion, which maybe would be cool. I don't really know what it adds, to be honest, but
it was good.
I liked it and want to play it again.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I've only played it once.
All right, we're cruising. We're getting close to the end of the new stuff. Space Station Phoenix we played. This game is dumb good.
It's so good. It's a engine building. You're literally building on a space station.
But also, not really. You're kind of you're tearing down you're building stuff and building stuff.
You're kind of building like a floating planet, sort of like a more permanent space station. So you are placing your worker onto various ships that you have in front of you to take an action. They all have an action listed on them. The actions are going to be getting you resources. You can do like a terraform. You basically go down to Earth and you gain resources. You can build stuff, recruit people, and things like that. Or you can build parts of a space station. As you build parts of a space station, it's going to give you access to all sorts of stuff. It might give you access to special actions, player powers,
whole bunch of stuff,
endgame scoring things, all sorts of stuff, and that give you basically more space to put different alien races and Terrans onto your space station. A big
player, everyone's living together.
Yeah, and it's just a really fun game because you start off with like a little asymmetric player power at the hub of your space station. But one thing that's interesting is that like you need metal to do the biggest projects. Metal's hard to come by. The best thing to do is to reduce your fleet of ships, basically turn them back down into metal, use the scrap, but then you're losing your action spaces. So you're kind of tearing down your own access to actions. I could use your actions and stuff though, however. But it's just really interesting because you can build like really specific, strange engines to kind of fuel up.
I'm really trying to do a game house in this one soon.
I think it'll be really cool.
Really, really good.
It's
really, really good.
Really rad game.
All right. We played Splendor Duel. Who's got a look at this? It looks like a frog in my opinion.
It does not.
It looks like a surprised frog. That crown,
okay, the eyes, the jewels, like that look like eyes.
Looks like a surprised frog.
I don't get where you get frog. I get the eyes. I mean, I guess.
Does it not look like who am I right now? Who am I?
Surprised frog, I guess.
That's a surprised frog on that cover. No, the Splendor Duel is the 2-player version of Splendor. It's Splendor where you're getting different cards, which will give you those kind of gems. But it's got a more interesting draft mechanic where kind of like my shelf, you're drafting things in lines. But what I like about Splendor Duel, it's like the draft mechanic, I think, makes it more interesting, which is great. Sure. But it's still Splendor. But the thing that makes this game more interesting to me is there's 3 different ways you can win. And I like that. Because it gives you more things to think about. You're like, look, I'm not going to do this because I'm just not getting these kinds of cards. I'm just going to start trying to go for this. I'm going to try to get all of one color and win that way. And that, to me, makes this game significantly better than Splendor, for me at least.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to the way you get your chips is interesting and more tactical because it's based in reality on the board. So this gives you all the vibes of Splendor, but it's just better to us. Just like it. Like it a lot.
It's a great game about frogs.
Facts.
Tim Chu would be very happy.
Very much.
You played Spots.
Spots is a little push your luck game where you're trying to put matching colored dice onto these Dalmatians to give them their spots and stuff. And there's a bit of push your luck to it because you're choosing an action each turn. That's going to give you a certain amount of dice you can roll, a certain amount of things you can do, all in the name of getting more of these dog cards and putting dice on them. But for any dice you essentially can't use on a turn, you have to put them in the doghouse. You bury those bones, those little dice. And if ever the total value of those buried dice is greater than 7, you lose all the progress on dogs that have not been completed and scored yet. So you're kind of trying to make sure you don't go too far in that direction and make sure you can play stuff out onto the dogs. Really cute push your luck game.
Cool. Love it. I want to play it. Looks cute. We played Stalker, the board game. We played this very recently. There's a playthrough of it. Make sure to check it out.
Keep it out.
This is based off Stalker, the video game. And this is kind of a story-driven game where you're doing different scenarios, different missions, and you're trying to do different stuff, and the board sets up differently. There's all these cards down the board that pertain to that mission. And I really, really like Stalker. I think it's so much fun. It's just really cool to be like the first scenario, you're trying to find this guy named Dalek, and so you're going around, you're flipping over these cards, trying to see where it is. There's all these enemies everywhere. And what I like about this game is not like a big shoot 'em up game. You are shooting people, but like a lot of it is trying to stealth around because you're making noise, and you don't want these things to come to you because they can essentially hear you. And I really like the noise mechanic in this game because the more noise you make, the farther that noise can reach, which means the more things it can like wake up and all this different kind of stuff. And it's really cool. And again, it's this kind of post-apocalyptic Chernobyl world. So there's all these like weird mutants and snorks. Snork.
I don't like the snorks, man.
The snorks are great. And it's really, really fun. We kind of talked about, we're like, man, we don't really have time for these kinds of games very much. Although we really want to. Because we were playing this game being like, dang, I like this game. I just know we wouldn't have time to play it. But I want to try and make time to play these kinds of games because I really, really like Stalker. I thought it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah. I hope we we're always trying to search and find better balance, work-life balance and stuff like that in hobby time. So maybe that's something that we can use as like well, now we have some of this hobby time. Let's try to dedicate to this and maybe make that a reason to make sure we set aside time or something.
Indeed. Played Station Fall. We played this at BGCon with a whole bunch of different people. Station Fall is, like I said during our rapid reviews of it, I think it's a masterpiece. If you like these kinds of games, this game is just about the exact opposite kind of game I ever want to play. It's a humongous game. Everyone has different rules. All the rules are wildly different.
And bananas. Like, it's a really weird world that this game is set in, which I love.
Yes.
It's
everyone
so
has different ways they score points.
Yeah.
If you are the space chimp, you want to get a briefcase, get a gun, and get back to Earth. If you're the engineer, you're trying to explode the space station, kill as many people as possible. If you're the billionaire, you're just trying to live stream the whole thing, and you want your dog to get back to Earth.
You don't care if you make it back, but you need your dog to make it back. Yeah.
And this game is humongous. There are a billion teeny tiny little rules that you have to know. Again, if you are into this kind of game, I honestly think this game is an absolute masterpiece, and I just never want to play it again.
Yeah.
That's just how it is for me. I enjoy these kinds of games.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. There's
just too much,
some
too many
funkiness
rules
to it and stuff, but I think it's a super interesting world.
Wild.
The kind of guessing of roles and stuff I think is really interesting and stuff. And yeah, this
People
game is
into this game, and I'm so hyped for them.
So stoked.
Stoked. I'll play a different game.
I'll watch you play it from over here.
Yeah,
and be like,
I would love to be like in the room with people playing this game.
Absolutely.
100%. We played Twat and Sue. I put this one on here because we played the new expansion, or it's not really that new anymore. The Golden Age. Twat and Sue is my favorite of the big T games. It's based around the Incan Empire, and the Golden Age adds a couple different things. It has a whole bunch of different modules. We played with like 2 of them or 1 of them.
Something like that, yeah.
But it's kind of like multicolor meeples now, which are cool because they act as both when you're putting them out on the board.
So awesome.
There's also like palaces that you can get now, and like nobles, where the palaces essentially give you more abilities to do things. And it took a great game, added some cool stuff, made it even better. But it's also module, and so you can kind of take and pick what you want with it. Twat and Sue is one of my favorite games of all time. It's either in my top 10 or close to my top 10. I freaking love Twat and Sue so much. And the expansion's really good.
Yep, agreed so much. And you crushed me when we played it.
I did win. We played the new Deluxe. I put this one in here because it's the Deluxe Master Set.
Absolutely. We did a couple plays where we went all in. Played with every expansion, everything.
Yeah.
And it was super fun to do that because it's this big, sprawling, crazy game.
Bonkers town.
This was on crowdfunding recently for the Deluxe Master Set, kind of an anniversary set, if you will, where it puts all the expansions into one box, gives you dual layer boards, all the kind of upgraded
A
stuff.
lot of like quality of life stuff.
Quality of life stuff that's upgrades. Yeah, like being able to track your technologies better and stuff like that. Really love Teotihuacan so much. It's such a good game. This deluxe master set version is going to be epic. I can't wait to get the final product. I'll be able to show it off for you. So yeah, if you like this version, I think it's a worthy one. Or if you're trying to get into Teotihuacan, this is a good way to just go for it all. If you think you're going to like it that much, of course.
We played That's Not a Hat, same game as Teotihuacan. Obviously the same artist, Wildly.
Yeah, that was 100% Enya.
It's one of our go-to songs is the Enya. That's Not a Hat is a memory game where everyone has a item of some type, very simply drawn, kind of like this, where it's like a traffic cone or a hat or a skateboard or a bucket or a frog, whatever. And everyone can kind of see who has what, and then you are then going to pass things to the left or the right, and on the back side of each card, it'll tell you which way you have to pass it. And then you put it face down, you pass, you say, enjoy this hat. And then the person can go, that's not a hat, if they think you're wrong. Yeah. And now you say, like, well, how would you not know? It was because then all things go face down.
Yeah, basically, once things start getting passed around, they go face down. You don't know.
And then you're like, oh, this thing moved twice. Wait, was that
the dog?
Was that the dog? Where's the bucket? Is the bucket with me? Is it over there? Yeah. And you just immediately forget. And you're supposed to be like blustering and be like, yeah, here's this dog. But we're always just like, I don't know what's in front of me. I don't know what's in front of me. And it just creates giggles. This game is so much fun.
It's ridiculously great. It's just a fun, silly time. And it is nothing more. I love it for exactly what it is. It comes in a tiny box.
Get a big group, play it at a con, play it with a fun, silly group, and you will have an absolute blast.
You think you're going to be able to track this stuff, and you so cannot.
2 turns in, you have no idea where anything is.
No idea where you are.
It's great.
It's so fun.
We've been trekking through history. This is the next one in the trekking through the national park world, although this one is very different.
Very much so.
It's actually not really similar, like, at all.
No, this one you're going you're doing
also the best of them.
Time travel, I agree, tourism, and you are going back and you're drafting out these cards, which are going to give you, I guess, experiences, or these like little wax seal things that are really nice, or I guess they're kind of plastic, but they're like these little seals, and you're going to put them down onto your itinerary for the day, and you're hoping to collect these, complete these columns and stuff of itineraries to score points, get all sorts of stuff. But certain actions you get, these experiences you're doing, are going to require more or less time to complete. And it's got the patchwork thing where whoever's furthest behind is that player's turn. And you're trying to create long sets of different events where you're always moving forward in time. Yeah. Not sequentially, but you're never going backward and stuff. And if you build that longer, the better on treks. So if you ever have to go back further in time, you start a new trek, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but you're trying to build these long runs. So it's really kind of not too hard, but gives you some fun things to think about. It's beautiful.
I love the game.
This game, if you like trekking through national parks, trekking through the world, trekking through history, trekking through history is far and away the best.
Yes, I agree.
This is one that we will keep and absolutely play moving forward, but it's still on the light side.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's really good.
Great game.
I really enjoyed that one a lot. I like the whole series, but this one's way great.
Play Tribes of the Wind. This is a new game by La Botajou. Great vintage trait art. And this is a game where you've kind of destroyed the world, and you're living up in the trees and on these big wind turbine things, and you're kind of trying to replant forests in kind of the desolation of the world.
Heal the world after we destroy it.
And it's cool because you are playing cards, and these cards have actions on them, and they have always going to have some kind of requirement, and the requirements oftentimes care about your neighbors. Yeah. So basically, you're like, I need to be able to do the cooler version of this card, I need to have more fire elements in front of me than both of my neighbors. Right. And you have all the elements like air, fire, earth, and water.
You got it.
And it's really, really cool.
Air, fire, wind, breeze.
It's really, really fun. It's pretty darn snappy. We've played it at 2 and at 5, and 5 is the max. I would say at 5 it's too long.
Too long.
I would say keep it at 4 or 3 or even 2. 2 is like super snappy. Yeah. You're not really interacting with each other too much. And again, it's like you care about your neighbors, but you can't control like what they have. No. So it's like you're just comparing a lot. It's really fun. I like Tribes of Wind a lot, especially, again, for the 2-player, really, really snappy. I think it's really cool.
Really cool vintage trait art, so obviously it's great looking. And, yeah, the 2-player, it's a nice, quick one where you're trying to just race to get those villages out. Really good. Really
like it a lot. Like it a lot. We played Tobago recently. This had been we played this game a long time ago. Put it on the new list because we played this with one of our backers from Kickstarter on BGA, and it works. This is a game I might prefer digital.
I think so.
Just because
it takes care of a lot of the bookkeeping stuff for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely got kind of like Forbidden Desert vibes where you are trying to find these treasures are buried, but you don't know where they are. So you're basically putting out cards, and these cards are limiting where it could be.
They're going to give the parameters of where the treasure must be.
Yeah, you're saying the brown treasure is in the largest lake. Now, the largest lake is many different spots. You know where in that largest lake.
But you know where it is not.
And then Michael put, like, the brown treasure is next to the jungle. So that means all these spaces in the largest lake that are not next to the jungle are now gone.
Yes.
And now it's only these ones. And so you're trying to limit it down. But then once you kind of know where it is, then anyone can go and get it.
Yes.
And so you're trying to, like, do it in a way where, like, only you are close enough to go get it. Or you basically, like, oh, there's a 50-50 chance either here or here. I'm right here. Mike's right here. I'm going to play this card that makes it so it's over here. So you're deciding where the treasures are. It's really cool.
Super
but on
fun.
BGA, it's constant. It does all the stuff for you in terms of like deciding where it can and can't be.
Yeah, because you put out cubes to say like it could be here, 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 here.
Yes.
It's like you have up to 17 cubes, so you can put them out. There's a lot of bookkeeping, like take them out, and now I got to take them away.
Oh, this one actually shouldn't
so now
be
it
there.
just does that for you, which is really nice.
On BGA, it's a
Works
banger.
really great.
Really
Zamago
fun
is
game.
fantastic,
Would still
though.
love to pick it up because it's really cool.
Yeah.
But really good on BGA. Try it. It's such a good game.
Agreed.
We played Ultimate Railroads. I guess Russian Railroads is mostly what we played.
Yeah, we played Ultimate Railroads. I haven't played the other versions, to be fair, but Ultimate Railroads has Russian Railroads, Asian Railroads, German Railroads, all the basically expansions for Russian Railroads in one box.
Yeah.
And I really want to try the extra stuff. I showed it to our buddy Atlas here in chat recently. It's a great worker placement game where you are building out tracks, these 3 different train tracks, and you are trying to develop different higher quality train tracks and stuff. Because the first ones you send out are not very great. They're not going to be worth any points. But as you build out your silver and your bronze and your green, those tracks start to be worth points if your locomotive can reach them.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of bonuses you can get, and there's just this great ramp-up effect of like, you're going to get more and more and more points every round as you continue to develop all of these things. So it has a great kind of feel of
really
like
fun.
The last round, you're like, I am a god, I'm getting 1,000 points.
I am the train god.
Yeah, and so I'm excited to try all the different versions in Ultimate Railroads. We haven't gotten to those yet, but I know that's going to bring a lot of really
Russian Railroads itself is
things.
really good, and I'm really excited to try the expansions.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I finally found Ultimate Railroads on sale and got it because it's not cheap. But it's it's really good. We played Union Station. We actually had Union Station for a little while now. This is a cube rail game.
Yes.
Our first cube rail game.
Absolutely. So this one, you're basically getting stocks of certain companies. You're placing out tracks of those companies to reach to different. They have kind of 2 different cities they want to get to. You can go through different towns on the way.
Yep.
And you want to have these stock cards and stuff. You can either buy a stock, you can sell all your stocks of a company to get a bunch of money. You want to have the most money at the end of the game. But it's really quick. This one's 3 to 5 players, but it's really fast. It's a small little package. And I really enjoy what it did. And it gets in a small, basically you play some track, buy some stock, sell stock. That's like what you can do on your
so if you're looking for like an 18XX, but like so much lighter.
Yeah.
Cube rail games are great for that. I really want to try more of them.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of them out there, and this one is great. It's a little package.
Yes.
You can see.
We're going to be playing Age of Rails South Africa soon for Capstone in a couple weeks, and that's going to be a bigger version of like
Kinda
this.
like
it's going to
this.
be kind
I'm
of a
very
cube
excited
rail
to try
type
it.
game on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to play Unmatched Tales to Amaze. This is the cooperative version of Unmatched, and it is so much dang fun.
I'm the kid that is the gift. It is like that.
Indeed.
Tip my hat off to you, man.
Tip my hat off, indeed. This is
so good.
Incredibly fun. This is Unmatched, but a cooperative version where you have some kind of big baddie. In the base game here, it is I guess base game, there's no other versions right now, but they're going to make more.
Hope,
you have
right?
Mothman and then the Martian alien, the Martian invaders.
Martian invaders.
And you're playing against one of those, and they're going to have some kind of...
What's up, Hannah J?
Some kind of minions with them, I guess they're called.
Yeah.
And those are going to be various cryptids, really like, not Chupacabra, but like the Jersey Devil is, I think, one.
The blob, giant spiders,
the ant queen, that kind of stuff.
Like that.
And so you need to take out the big bad, and you're playing cooperatively, but they're basically, each big bad is going to be doing different stuff. So the Mothman is trying to destroy these 4 bridges. So you're trying to make sure that doesn't happen. The Martian invader is trying to essentially have multiple successful invasions, and there's different sides of the board for each villain.
Yep.
And you can play. It has 4 new characters. All 4 of the characters are super cool.
Super dope.
But you can play with any characters you want. You can just bring in anyone. You can play these characters in any other version of Unmatched. It was so much fun, and it was just one of those things where we were talking to Restoration Games about it, and I'm like, I'm just so excited for this system.
Yeah.
And like what other enemies they can have in there, because it was so. And then the minions really made the game feel different.
Yeah, the minions add a lot of variety, and the minions were hard to deal with. And those ones will swap out. So you could play Mothman, but the different combinations of minions will vastly change the feel of the game. And again, I just love that it's just like, oh, do you want to drop Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde into this? You can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
The
you trying to have a T-Rex
compatibility,
fight? Go for
that's
it.
what I'm saying, dude. I'm like, that is so tight.
Jekyll and Hyde,
that is so awesome. Almost every single unmatched character, I think except for like maybe Black Panther, will work with this system. So that cross compatibility, I think, is so smart, and it makes it cooperative.
I just want more villains. I'm like, give me more villains, please.
I'm just so excited.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for
idea.
what the heck they do with this. It's incredible. If you like Unmatched, you need to try.
Plus, if you don't like fighting against each other, now you can work together.
Exactly, and some people don't. We play Votes for Women, and this is a really awesome kind of coin-inspired game where it's a war game, area control kind of war game where you're playing out event cards. And these event cards are about the women's suffrage movement here in the United States.
Yep.
One player plays as the suffragist, one player plays as the opposition, or you can play cooperative or solo, where you're both playing as the suffragist against the AI.
I would recommend that, probably.
Because it kind of sucks playing the opposition.
Yeah, I played in one as the opposition. I'm like, and these games do this, and I don't think it's a bad thing that they do. It's like they're presenting this part of history, and someone's got to play the baddies or whatever. But it's weird. I was just like, yay!
Like, you're playing a World War II game. Someone's got to play the Axis, right? It's like, it's like.
So it's interesting, but I love that this presents a co-op or solo mode where you can play against the Autobot, and now you're both working toward like progress, which just feels much better.
It feels nice.
So I like that they have that option, but it's an event-based,
and all the events are things that happen. So you're like, you play this card, and that'll be like, oh, you're not going to put a bunch of supporters out in the Midwest because this person who's on this card was a suffragist in the Midwest. And so it's really cool.
Really historical information.
Incredible production. It's really fun.
Amazing. Really solid fun game. Liked it a lot.
You got to play War Chest, finally.
I played War Chest. This was...
We've had this game for years.
Played it for, it's we've had it forever. This is a really interesting game where you're basically going to get 4 types of troops. So you see like these types of things that will be represented by these chips. And they're all going to have different abilities, the way that they attack, the way they can kind of move and do stuff. And you're trying to ultimately control different areas of the board that are kind of worth points. And if you start your turn, you're still controlling that, you get a victory point or whatever it is to try to win the game. But it's really interesting because you just kind of, we play with the suggested starters, and there's ones that are based on like history of like, these types of people have these types of troops. So you can play with these 4, or you can just randomize it and get 4 random troops that all do different stuff. I thought it was a really interesting, asymmetric, tactical, abstract kind of game. I totally see why this is so popular.
Right.
It makes tons of sense. I'm like, this is interesting. We have a couple expansions. I do want to try more of the troops. And they add stuff. It was really neat. It was really neat. Yeah. I got rolled in it, but that's all right.
I try more. Have you guys ever played 1960s and Making of a President?
Really want to.
We have not, but Votes for Women I think is closer to that than a coin game. True. Really want to try because I've heard it's very good.
Yeah.
We played Weather Machine. This was one of the first Vital Lacerda games we played this year. We've been playing a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
This is about building a big old weather machine. And it's really fun. I really like it. It's got a really cool, tight economy system.
Yes.
I want to play it with 3 players because Weather Machine
Me too.
is not the best 2-player Vital Lacerda game. It's good. It works okay, but we've heard that it's much better at higher player counts. I want to play it at 3. Because I like the concept of everything you're doing in this game. I love the theme. Obviously, love the look. It's incredible.
Oh my gosh.
And it's got this really tight economy with these vouchers, and you have your robots and stuff. I just want to play at higher player counts. Because right now, it's probably my least favorite Vital Lacerda game. But I think I'll like it a lot more at higher player counts. I still do really enjoy it.
Yeah, we need to play it again. We've only played the once, so we just need to get a couple more reps in for sure to make the final diagnosis. Super cool theme, though. Yeah. Really interesting. Got to play it again.
Yeah,
for sure.
Got to play it again. We got to play Wild Gardens. We covered this one for Rose Gauntlet Games. This is a game where you are foraging out. You're foraging different forageables like, fruits and aquatic plants and fungus and stuff. Yep. And you're making delicious meals for people who are around, and you're serving them these lovely meals. And it's cool. It's a cute little puzzle game where you're trying to get your kind of gardeners in the right spots
to be able to forage those specific items like berries or whatever.
It was really good. We definitely want to have a house rule where you eliminate some of the cards each round, because one thing that can happen is like different guests want certain things. Like they want a breakfast item and then a drink. And there might be, of all the food and drinks that are out there, there might just be no breakfast items. And you're like, well, cool, I can't do anything because there's none that's out there. So I think the cards need to flush out more. And this game is still on crowdfunding.
So that could very well change by the time it happens. But something that we would definitely recommend is like there needs to be something to help because
it needs to flush out
in every game we played of it, there was some point where like everyone has stuff we want to do, but we just don't have the right stuff because it's not available. Not because of like, oh, I didn't play well or something. So,
but a cool game, really great look. It was good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
We played Wizards of Grimoire. We are almost done with our new stuff. Wizards of Grimoire is a 2-player card dueling game. We played it on a playthrough, so you can check it out. Yeah. But yeah, it's a cool, pretty simple 2-player card game where you're dealing with like mana and stuff.
Yeah, you're dealing with mana and you're putting out, you're gaining spells and stuff as you go each round until you kind of fill up and you can start swapping stuff out. And then you're going to use that mana. They're going to need a certain spell that will need a certain amount of mana cards. Doesn't matter what the value of the mana is, face down on it to be able to trigger its effect, dealing out damage, maybe helping you recover stuff, get more mana cards and things like that. And it's really fun because there's kind of a cooldown where if you play like 4 mana cards on this really powerful spell, every round, at the end of the round, you take 1 mana off. And so it's going to take a while to cool down.
Yes.
But you can also get spells that help you move your mana cards around or remove stuff quicker.
Going on. Yeah.
So it's kind of this fun balance of like, do I play out a bunch of spells that are just attacky?
Yeah.
Do I play out a bunch of spells that are kind of purple cards which help me move my mana around or gain more mana and do stuff like that? And you can also use at certain times mana, you can flip it over and then the power level of that mana becomes important and you can attack with it and stuff like that. Really fun if you like kind of card dueling games. This one is another really interesting one, but I just the kind of cooldown system of the spells is really cool.
And like any other card game, the more you play it, you'll get those combos going better and stuff like that, which is pretty darn cool. All right, I think this is the last game from our new stuff. We played Woodcraft.
So good.
Woodcraft is amazing.
Okay.
Woodcraft is a new game by Vladimir Suki and Ross Arnold.
We like a Vladimir Suki game.
We love Vladimir Suki game. This game has got one of the coolest themes ever. Basically, you are these wood people, cannibalizing your own people. You're
need a bit of wood for this.
You're basically getting, you're trying to fulfill different woodworking orders. Like this person wants a little violin, this person wants a table, and you're gonna need different kinds of wood. There's green wood, yellow wood, and brown wood. Brown wood is the rarest, green wood is the most common. Yep. And they're gonna require certain pip values. So like this thing requires a level, a pip value of 3 and 2 of brown. But 1, you can't put down a 5, you need to have a 3 and a 2. You have exactly a 3 and a 2.
Precise carpentry.
Making precise stuff. So if you have a 5 brown, you can cut that dice in half and make it into a 3 and then a 2. And the way you manipulate those dice is so interesting. I'm astonished that like, not really games have done that before.
Yeah, because there's a lot of ones that abstractly do dice manipulation, but here it's just a cool way to, again, root it into a theme of like you're cutting that piece of wood into 2 things, so it has to equal 5 because the whole piece is still in existence, but how you break it up is up to you.
It's just cool. There's so many cool little thematic things in this game. It's a good crunchy game. Again, one of those games, as you play it more, you start to see how to work it better and better. You start doing crazier and crazier turns. It's incredibly good.
Yeah.
Okay, I think if I remember correctly, that was it. Yes.
All right,
so that is 101 new games. We got to get out of here in like 45 minutes, so we're going to start blitzing through these ones. These are all games that we have played before.
Yes.
But that's 101 new games. Thank you for sticking out. Again, if you've been here this far, please give the video a thumb up.
We love it very much. Thank you so much for hanging on. And we're going to go into the old stuff, so stuff that we played multiple times. Yep. Most of these are going to be games we quite like. That's why we played them multiple times.
So Arcanist West Kingdom is the first in the West Kingdom series. It's kind of a worker investment game. Really, really good. Still love it. It's very, very, very good.
Really like it.
God, Arcanist is great.
Arcanist is great. It's on Board Game Arena now, and honestly, play it there too. If you know it, it's great. It's awesome.
It has not gotten old. We played it a whole bunch. Has not gotten old.
Yeah.
Azul is on here. Azul Mini specifically is what you've been playing a lot.
So I haven't played Azul in a while because I really had kind of played it out. But we got Azul Mini, and I've been playing it, and it reminds me like it's a really great game. It can be so mean.
Yeah.
You can be so mean with it, but if you don't mind that, it's a classic for a reason.
Indeed. Play Bag of Chips. This is a game by Blue Orange Games. Another push your luck game where you're going to have scoring cards. And
speculative,
speculative cards. Like there's going to be more teriyaki chips than barbecue chips out there. And then the person is drawing the chips out of the bag, and at the end of the game, you're going to score some of those. Some of those might cost you some points. But as the game goes, you get to discard some of these scoring cards you have. So at the end of the game, you're going to score 2 of them, and essentially get negatives from 1 of them. And it's just pure push your luck that has no right to be as fun as it is, but it's so fun, and it comes in a little bag.
Boom, there you go. And a bag of chips.
Bag of chips.
Play Bandito.
We're always be playing some Bandito.
Be loving that Bandito play sound. Try to catch that Bandito. You're probably not going to do it, but you should enjoy yourself anyway.
Good co-op game, very tough, impossible to win. You love it.
Tiny box, big game.
Yeah. Baseball highlights we played because baseball rules.
Baseball rules. We always play it every season. It's a great back and forth game that simulates baseball with robots. Highly recommend. Really, really cool.
Yeah,
game.
especially if you love baseball. It's an absolute banger. Absolute banger.
A lot of fun,
Birds of a Feather. This is an interesting game where you're kind of scaring away other birds and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're trying to observe birds and stuff, and you're trying to see a bunch of birds of from certain biomes, essentially. So whatever card you play is the biome you're visiting, and any other bird cards in that biome that have been played this round or the round previous, you can observe all of those birds and try to get as many of those types.
We can put out like predator birds, but then scare birds away and stuff like that. And so it's a really cool little game. Yeah, really fun.
Great light game. You can play a lot of players.
Yeah. Played Black Sonata. Black Sonata is a solo-only deduction hidden movement game where you're trying to find Shakespeare's inspiration for his famous sonatas, and you are trying to deduce information about these different women that could be the person, and they are moving around trying to find them. You basically are hiding in trash cans, be like, "Who are you?" like that, and trying to see.
What's your name?
And they go, and they run away, but you saw they had a wedding ring, so now you know they're married.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, only these characters are married, so you know it can't be these ones. And then you're like, oh, they also write. Okay, these ones are married and they write. And you're trying to deduce who it is. It's so much fun.
Yeah, really, really fun.
So much fun. Yeah, it's really good.
Super cool solo game.
Played Blitzkrieg recently here.
We did. This is a 2-player World War II in 20 minutes, exactly what it is.
As it says.
It's a game where you're placing out different troops, either the Axis or the Allies, into different theaters of war, and you're pulling your influence. The more kind of strength you have in that area, you have better control over that region, and you're trying to gain control of regions, be the first, I think, to 25 points. Mm-hmm. It's got great back and forth. The chips you're playing will often have powers as well.
Yeah.
So it's a fun little bag builder.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's very fast.
Just played Caesar as well. Caesar's also very good.
Yeah.
Played Boon Lake. Of course we did, because Boon Lake's incredible. I freaking love
Hoping to play it this weekend, in fact.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Boon Lake is very, very fun. This is a game where you're building out kind of like an old west town in this kind of, I guess, abandoned, because there was some of the at some point.
Once upon a time.
You find kind of like artifacts from like previous civilizations, basically. But yeah, this kind of open land. You're building out pastures and towns and settlements and stuff like that.
Your little area.
I freaking love Boon. Boon Lake's kind of divisive. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it might be my favorite Alexander Pfister game. I like it. I like it that much. It's incredible.
Go.
Played some Burn Cycle. Burn Cycle a couple times this year. I still really like Burn Cycle. It's a chip theory game where you are you're running a heist and you're going through stealth and you're all these robots, but you're not, again, smashing through walls and killing people. You are trying to stealth your way around because you're like janitor robots. You're not like warriors.
No. Soldiers.
I really like Burn Cycle. It's got a billion little rules. It's one of the reasons why I like to solo it, because I can kind of just play it on my own time. I really, really like Burn Cycle a lot, though.
Yeah. Shoots out.
Played Caper Europe recently.
Yes, we did. This is a really fun one.
It's fun. 2-player tug of war.
Yeah, Caper Europe's just cool. It's got a great production and stuff. It can be mean because you can burn other players' gear and stuff like that. But you're not like thieves. You're baddies. You're idiots. And you're, again, trying to get tug of war in certain locations. You're trying to like have the most thieves and stuff. There's a lot of color chaining, set collection elements to it with card drafting.
Really fun.
Amazing production.
The production's bonkers.
So good.
Bonkers good. We played Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem's
super fun.
It's super fun.
Wish it looked better.
Wish it looked better. Wish it had a different theme.
This is the new version I'm saying. Wish this looked better.
Wish it looked better. Carpe Diem is just like this themeless game. It's just set kind of like in Rome, kind of. But you're essentially building out an estate or something. I'm not entirely sure what you're doing in the game.
I don't know.
But you're essentially drafting these tiles, matching them, trying to build, so have like a little cap of a vineyard. Once you cap the other side of the vineyard, you've now built a vineyard, you're going to get grapes. And then you're trying to score these gold cards. A gold card might be like, you need to be able to turn in 3 grapes. And so now you can do that because now you have those grapes. Really, really interesting scoring. It's got a cool draft. It's just like super ugly, and this is the better looking version. It's still super ugly.
It's functional now, and Alea seems like content on just being like, functional's good. Let's just do that. And I'm like, why don't you want to look nice?
Yeah. And the theme is just like super boring.
Get it.
But the game itself is really, really fun. Yeah. I would love a retheme, relook, but hey, we'll see.
Be sweet.
Play Castle of Burgundy.
Such a good game.
So
amazing.
Great.
Classic. It's great.
No theme. Doesn't look great, but you know, hey.
Duchies. So good. We hope you get the Awakened Realms version someday, because that'd be amazing.
Yeah, Gothenburg is incredible. We played Clank, a deck building adventure. Played this recently. Love some Clank. This is a game where you're exploring a dungeon, trying not to make noise, because then the dragon will come eat you. And we both... Did either of us? I think we both died.
I don't think either of us made it.
Because we both died in the dungeon.
Both died.
It's really fun. I really want to play Clank Catacombs.
Yes, me too.
Really want to play Clank Catacombs.
Yeah, Clank is just fun.
It's
just a classic.
Crazy fun. You've played a bad game?
Clever Forever. It's great. I play on the app a bunch. It's rolling dice, trying to bump up these tracks and do different things. Each color dice corresponds to an area that works a little bit differently. It's the 4th one in the series. If you like Gone on Clever, you'll probably like this one.
But what if you like Top It So Clever?
No, you're going to hate this one.
Played Coimbra.
Yeah.
Coimbra's really cool. It's a card.
I like it, man.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. You're kind of like bidding for these different cards, putting your dice out, and then getting these cards, which might give you like special abilities, might allow you to like...
They're always going to allow you to bump up tracks of the corresponding color.
Yeah. And you're like moving around this board, trying to get to these certain spots. It's just really good. It's got this great look to it.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
It's a really solid game. Yeah, it's just
Coimbra's
solid
just
and one that like if you're to our level where you've been in the hobby a while, like
Geniuses.
this is one, not even, but this is gonna be one that you're gonna be like, you're gonna understand how it works very quickly because you'll see it is just it'll look familiar in its way, which is a good thing. It's
very
cool.
good, though.
Very easy to get into.
We played Concordia Venus.
Yeah, it's a version I picked up. Finally got Concordia. I think I did it as like a birthday present to myself or something.
Yeah, you did. It was that.
And Concordia's a classic. It's a classic Euro game. It's the game that like made the joke about like trading in the Mediterranean. That's exactly what you're doing here. Concordia is awesome. Highly recommend.
It's good. Very good. Yep. It's classic for a reason.
Yep. Big
Played Crokinole, one of the greatest games ever made. If not the greatest game ever made. Play it.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's dice...
We left it off our 2-player list because we were thinking, because most recently we played it as 4-player, but like it probably should have been on there because it is kind of primarily a 2-player game, and like, yeah, it's great.
It's so good. It's so good. Croconole's the greatest game ever made.
It's so good.
You got to play Crusaders. Thy will be done.
Be done. This is an interesting game where you use kind of a Mancala on like a little rondelle to move pieces around.
Board games need to do Mancala.
They do. And when you pick up your stack, if you have like 5 of this thing for the Crusade action, you get 5 action points for that action, and then you kind of spend your, push your pieces around and kind of spread stuff back out. So you're kind of getting stuff built up and do things to put out buildings, to fight off the other people, convert them. Thematically, look at it, kind of like,
it's Crusades. Everyone's kind of crappy.
Yeah.
It's like, just leave people alone.
It was a dark time,
you know? It's like,
but it's a really fun, interesting game. It's actually pretty snappy as well, which I like that a lot.
I want more Mancala.
Yeah.
Play Cubitos. You're cube people. This is cheese.
Racing.
Layer hosing on. You're racing cubes.
I am so bad at this
You're not
game.
good at this game, Mike.
I just get rolled.
It's kind of got some Quacks equivalent.
I've gotten worse
vibes.
at this game. I don't know what happens.
You're trying to do a lap around a racetrack, and you are getting different dice. Those different dice do different things when you roll them.
Yep.
You can buy more of those dice. Again, kind of got some Quacks Equilenburg vibes. I like it more because I just like the race more than I just like
really
putting stuff in my pot. Still love Quacks, but like... yeah, it's just Cubitos is really, really fun. Yeah. Great racing game. And you live in this weird cube world.
And that's fun.
Why not?
Hey, John D. Clare, man.
Play some Decorum.
Yes. Played a 3-player game, and we did really well. Played a 3-player game.
I played a 4-player game this year, too, and we did not do well.
It's a hard one, man. This is one that kind of went under the radar, and we think is really fun. It's a really fun thing because you're trying to decorate a house, and we all have specific rules about like how I need the house to be happy, and we're not communicating those things other than being passive aggressive, and it's just hilarious.
That lamp is fine.
You're just trashing each other, trying to figure out like, why don't you like my lamps? And it's because you're like, well, I don't want any blue stuff downstairs.
Yeah,
but I don't know that. Yeah. And so we're trying to figure it out, and it's a nice thing because there is an answer to the puzzle, which is great and satisfying.
It's very, very fun. I really like Decorum. You played Eclipse, the new one, Eclipse Second Dawn.
I like the upgrades, I like the quality of life upgrades with the new one. I still run into the problem of like, there's too many luck elements for me to invest this much time
into this game.
Because it's like, oh, I went to this area and there was nothing to fight and I flip over this thing and it's this ancient ship which is crazy powerful and I now just have that. And I'm like, I've never gotten one of those cool things ever. And that's not skill, that's just pure luck.
Yeah, fair.
Bummed out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll play Eclipse, but I'm not.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm the same. Played Ego's First Continent. Still love some Ego's First Continent.
Played it at.
I played it at Dice Tower West. I played like a 5-player game with it. It didn't go over great with everybody, but I really like Ego's First Continent. This is kind of a bingo style game. We were drawing these.
Drop names. Let's blast some people online right now.
where I like this game. You are drawing out these symbols on these kind of cool big tiles.
Bingo style. You can use those and put them onto cards. And if you get all of your energy cubes like covered up on a card or whatever,
you can activate that card.
You get to activate that card and do stuff to change the landscape, add trees, put animals out,
they're
tear
all
stuff
unique.
apart.
I really love Ecos.
It's great.
I like it a lot.
It's a great one.
We played Faum.
Still good, so good, amazing. You're building out stuff in the lands, but you don't own anything. Aw, Pibbers. Everything is owned to the Pharaoh, so you're trying to build up stuff in the name of the Pharaoh. It's really cool. You can play cards out, buy new cards, or kind of reset and get your cards back, but the order you play those cards in matters. Really great.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Absolutely.
Cruising right along here. Fantasy Realms, talked about Marble Remix. We like that. We love Fantasy Realms as well. Fantasy Realms is just a little bit simpler than Marble Remix, but I do think Marble Remix is probably ultimately going to be the better game.
Ultimately, probably.
But Fantasy Realms is just a perfect, pure filler game.
Yeah, perfect, pure filler game. We played Feast for Odin, worst game ever made.
Cheers is the best ever. So moving right along, you know it's the greatest. I love it so much.
Incredibly good. Played Five Tribes. Five Tribes is one of those games that every time we play it, we're like, why don't we play Five Tribes more?
I don't know.
Great Moncala game. Again, Moncala, where you're not necessarily going in a circle, but you're going around. Wherever you end, you get to activate that tile. It's so good. Yeah. It's just incredibly good.
It's fantastic.
Framework, this is, again, kind of in that Sagani, Nova Luna, Habitats thing. Framework is kind of like all of them, but just bare bones. And it works really well for that. I really like Framework. Framework's one of those games that's just so easy to get to the table. Just so easy to get to the table.
It's a great time.
Played Ginkgo Polis.
Ginkgo Polis, it's so good. Is that a different cover?
It is. I don't know why I have this cover downloaded.
So Ginkgopolis is a city building game, card drafting game, engine building game, area control game. So many things in one.
Everything. Negotiation.
It's amazing.
Space
it's amazing.
4X game.
It's like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
really good. Really, really good.
Love that game so much.
Played Glenmore 2 Chronicles.
Tile lane goodness.
Yeah, tile lane goodness. You're in this kind of Scottish Highland and you're building out. There's a whole bunch of different modules in this version, and they're all really, really cool. I like Glenmore. I don't think I like it quite as much as I thought I would like it.
I'm a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I want to explore the rest of the modules and see what those add.
Definitely good enough to keep, and definitely good enough to keep playing. I was expecting this to be like a 9, and it's like a 7 for me.
Yeah. Not bad, but
still good. Still good. Great Western Trail, this is the second edition.
I played this at AirCon. I played this a decent amount on
VGA
this year.
Is it this version or is it the other?
It's this version, yeah. And it's great. Like, we love Great Western Trail Argentina so much as well. But, like, honestly, Great Western Trail straight up is so good still. It's so good.
Don't worry about it. Great Western Trail Argentina is also very good.
It's amazing. I love it even better.
Also very good. I like this one a little bit better. It's because it's got a little more going on. It's just different, and I like it. Super excited to try Great Western Trail, New Zealand. Cannot wait. Love Great Western Trail. All of them. I want them all.
I want it so bad.
Played Hallertau. It's another Uwe Rosenberg farming game where you are doing some worker placement. You get these kind of like cool chaining bonus cards that you get. It's kind of all about this card play, and you're trying to kind of better the town.
You're trying to upgrade the buildings and stuff, which allow your community to kind of upgrade, gets you more workers and stuff. This is a great one that I'd like to recommend to like get people into the larger Ube games.
I think it's simpler. I really like Hallertau a lot. You played Inish, Mike?
It's a weird one. It's just a weird one. It's card drafting, area control, but the fighting is just so strange where I'm like, are we doing this right? It's super weird. I don't know where I'm at with Inish. Time will tell.
Yeah, fair.
I don't love it.
Fair. But It's a Wonderful World. Love It's a Wonderful World. This is a pure drafting game. You're drafting out these different cards. You can get rid of those cards and recycle them for different resources, or you can put them into production, which will take those resources. Yep. The cool thing is once you build those cards, they'll go into your kind of production row.
Production chain.
And a lot of times they're going to give you production, and then you're going to go production down the line, and you activate all those cards, and then you can put those resources onto cards, which may be put in your production line. It's just so good. I really want to try the campaign. There's a new expansion out for it. I want it. It's very good.
There's a lot to explore here. Yeah, we got to play the campaign though.
Yeah, I played some Just One, and it's great.
Perfect party game.
Perfect party game. You are trying to get co-op game, trying to get someone to guess this prompt, but if you have the same answer as someone else, you both have to hide those answers. So you're trying to think outside the box. Yeah. It's really good.
So you want to think of something that's useful but also unique.
Yes, it's great. Played some Karuba.
Rip.
Karuba's kind of an original roll and write in a way.
Kind of, yeah. It's a pre-roll and write where everyone's going to get the same tiles in the same order, and you have to either add those tiles to make pathways to get your explorers to temples, or you can spend those things to move your explorers. So it's a really great back and forth. If you kind of get your infrastructure of tiles built out to get your pathways, and then you start getting your explorers there because it's a bit of a race to get to those temples. Great game.
Really, really good. I played Keystone North America. It's been a while since we played this one. This is a really tough puzzle game where you're getting these different animals from North America here, and you're putting them into rows and columns, but you need to put them in either ascending or descending order. You want these keystone species in there because they're allowed you to like double your score for that row and column. You want the same biome. There's all these different ways you have to build out your like 4x4 grid, and it just like melts your mind. In ultimately a relatively simple game in terms of the mechanics. I really like Keystone North America. It's got really, really great art. I think it's a banger. I think it's good.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Super puzzly fun.
Play Kites.
Kites is so hard, but it's so fun.
So good.
It's such a fun game where you have these sand timers and you're playing cards out, and whatever color or colors show up, you flip those sand timers. Trying to make sure the sand does not run out in any of the timers. It's just fun, chaotic. You will yell at your friends for 5 minutes. This is a great way to begin or end a game night if you want to get a lot of energy going. Great art as well. Kites is so fun. It's so just fun. Pure, silly, stupid fun.
Yeah, it's great. We played Lacrimosa a couple times this year. Lacrimosa, you killed Mozart. You're trying to get away from the coppers. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
No, you're like Mozart's. You're trying to prove that you were Mozart's best friend.
We were calling your times with Mozart. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really, really fun. It's just smooth like butter.
Yeah.
It just works well. You have kind of you're playing out these cards, doing actions, getting resources. It's really cool. I love the look of it. It's just, Lacrimosa is awesome. It's awesome. So good. It's
smooth,
just so good.
Man, smooth.
We played La Havre.
It's great. It's right up there for maybe the best
top 5.
Yeah, it's such a good game.
So good. La Havre,
such a good game.
Getting fish, building buildings, fish stuff.
Getting upgrades, make sure you can feed your peeps.
Played Legacy U. Actually, this could have been the new one because I played it for the first time this year. But this is a solo-only campaign game by Garfield Games.
Yep.
And Garfield Games, per usual, is absolutely crushing. It's so much fun. It's a absolutely outstanding Legacy game. And it's just really, really cool. Great solo game. Absolutely love it.
Highly recommend.
All right, we played Long Shot the Dice Game. Still great.
Still great. Love it. It's rolling right, betting on horses, hoping the outcome of the horse race goes your way. Really great game.
Yeah, really
fun.
fun.
Up to 8 people. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Played the Loop. I played this solo. I really, really like the Loop. Loop is like probably top 20 for me. I love it, love it, love it so, so much.
Yep.
You're going through time, different parts of time, trying to destroy Dr. Foe and all his different clones that he's sending out through time. Every character works differently. You're playing these cards, but then if cards have the same symbol, you can then use energy to essentially use those cards again in that round, which is called looping. And you can keep looping as long as you have the energy to do so. So you can put together these really cool turns. Play it solo. It works really, really good solo. I really want to get the expansions because I freaking love the Loop.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Lost Ruins of Arnak. I can't wait for the expansion.
So good. Yeah, can't wait for the expansion. We played it solo a few times recently. Cannot wait for the expansion. 2-player campaign, solo campaign. So stoked. It's going to be dope.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
You know we love it.
Played Mets vs. Minis for the first time in a long time. Mets vs. Minis is great.
We played this on a game night where Nick and I were just hanging out. And we decided to play only games we played before.
Yes, nothing new.
And we dusted off Mets vs. Minions, which is super fun. We thought we were dead in the water. Then we kind of like recovered and just stomped. But it's a programming game with these mechs that you can program attacks and movement and stuff like that, and it's really kind of puzzly and tricky. As you get damaged, you start moving in weird ways and stuff. Really fun game.
It's so good. It's so much fun. You've been playing My City.
Been playing through My City. It's really fantastic. I love the campaign. It's a campaign game that's easy to get into and get through. We're playing through it for the second time. Cannot wait for My Island.
But the spoilers, Mike, you know that everyone
dies. I don't
dies.
even care, man. Yes, it goes real zombies halfway through.
Yeah. You played New Frontiers.
Indeed. I really enjoyed this one. I think I've played it a bunch now, and I'm kind of like, I don't hate it or anything like that, but it's like, I sort of have seen a lot of what it is, but it's a great game that you can play really fast. And so if you want kind of like a game where you can build up this fun engine in like 40, 45 minutes, it's a great one. And they're racing for the Galaxy.
Reasonable size box, too.
But I really want to get Roll for the Galaxy. I think that's going to be it is my favorite already, but...
We played a New Fjord. This Fjord, we kind of talked about earlier. We talked about Glass Road. This is a good, like, kind of like medium weight Uwe game. Not like light, but this is a game where you're like in Norway and you're getting buildings and putting them on your board. It's very Uwe stuff.
Feeding your elders, make use of their abilities and their wisdom.
Fish and stuff like that. It's really, really good. Really great 2-player game. It's like 30 to 45 minutes at 2-player. It's really snappy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely outstanding.
Super good.
We played Orleans.
Orleans.
I think I sold it. Have you
Yeah.
played? Yeah. I sold this a couple times while Mike was on paternity leave.
Yeah.
No, you must be when you were gone.
When I was in Ireland.
You were in Ireland. I love Orleans. We talked about the rolling right earlier. I think this is great. There's so many different ways to play this game. Once you have the expansion, you can play it co-op, competitively, solo. There's a whole bunch of different versions of the competitive game.
There's just so much content for this game.
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. We played Paladins. We played actually the Tome Saga.
Yeah, we played. That's where we played Architects as well. You see Viscounts come up here, and so we played Paladins as part of the Tome Saga. It's been a while since we played it. We played it with the expansions in. It's just it's a great, crunchy, tough game. I like the expansion because it
opens it up a little bit, which
gives
is
you
nice.
a couple more options to do stuff, which I really like.
Yeah, it's nice.
I think the City of Crowns
Feels kind of very useful.
Yeah.
Played Paleo. This is a game that we finally got back to the table, and I was like, oh, that's right. This game's incredible. This is like a co-op survival
we kind of
game.
forgot. We did that thing where you forget this. Like, we do enjoy this game. Why don't we play it more?
Yeah, it's like this co-op survival game where you're just trying to get through the scenario, the different modules. And it's one of those games where you're kind of like, yeah, you'll figure it out. You'll just kind of start playing and you figure it out. And it's really good. It's very cool and interesting. Yeah.
Agreed.
Like it a lot. You played Pandemic.
Base Pandemic.
Not
3 times in a row. Not expansion in sight. Played it when I went to see my sister-in-law in Idaho. And we taught it to them because they had it in shrink in their closet. And I was like, we're going to play Pandemic.
I know. How have they not played it?
It was so...
And they loved it, too.
They loved it. They loved it so much that Karen got her sister Robin Pandemic Legacy Season 1.
No, she did not, really.
And Robin's visiting her friend, and she's bringing it. They're like, we're going to play through this over the weekend. We're going to crush this whole thing.
Oh,
and I'm like, that's so exciting. I can't wait to hear if you've played it before, you know some of the story stuff, which we won't spoil. I can't wait to hear reactions.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We played Pandemic Iberia. A lovely follower rather, sent us Pandemic Iberia because we couldn't find it anywhere.
Dude, I don't know what we do wrong in this game, but we have not even sniffed a victory.
Yeah, this game is tough. This is
so
Pandemic.
hard.
It's very similar to Pandemic. Got some interesting differences, and you're in the Iberian Peninsula, around Spain and Portugal and stuff. And it's set back in time, and it's really hard. It's really, really fun.
So hard.
Really like it, but it's tough.
James playing through Season 2 right now, Pandemic Legacy. Season 2
Season
is
2
really
is
interesting.
maybe my favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
Played a lot of Planet Unknown, a different place. Still don't have this game.
We gotta get this thing.
I'm hoping it's at Gen Con because I want to pick it up.
I know it might be worth just snagging if we find it. They gotta have copies there.
Planet Unknown is a great game. You're terraforming a planet. Everyone has a different planet, and you are bumping a whole bunch of different tracks. You're getting special powers. It's really, really incredible.
Hawksville says Legacy in a weekend's very Murph energy. Big time, you know it.
At Dice Tower West, I got to teach Praga Kaput Regni to a couple different people, and it was so much fun. I love Praga Kaput Regni. This is another Vladimir Suki game where the more you play, you get these engines going, you kind of get these turns going. It's great. And the two people I played it with were really lovely and really, really liked the game, which was awesome. It was funny because they came up to Shay, because they knew Shay, and they were just like, can you teach us this game? And then Shay was like, I don't know that game. But he pointed at me. He's like, but Nick would probably know that game. I was actually playing Planet Unknown. And he's like, you should have him teach. I bet you know it. And they were like, do you know it? I was like, yeah, I know. I'll teach you right after this game. And so we went and played it, and it was great. I love Praga Kaput Regni. It's absolutely outstanding.
That's so cool.
But I got another Vladimir Suki game.
Vladimir Suki block. Yeah.
But Pulsar 2849. This is an interesting game. That for a Vladimir Suki game, I think is definitely lower on our lists.
Yes.
It just doesn't stick in my mind.
That's the main thing is like, we just played it recently. I'm like, I don't even know what you're doing in that one. For whatever reason.
Dice and you're drafting out dice.
But it is
making
enjoyable.
Pulsars.
Yeah, it is enjoyable,
good.
but we like the Pragas and Woodcrafts and stuff in Underwater Cities better.
I think it'll be on the coal list at some point. It's good. It just doesn't stick in our mind. Honestly, I just wouldn't pick this over another Vladimir Suki game.
It's not a bad game at all. It's just not the one we choose.
I played Quacks of Quedlinburg. Great game.
So great.
So great. Pulls up in a bag. Try not to die. It's awesome.
Pure push your luck, man.
Yeah, absolutely fun. Played Rogers and Gandhi's. The dice game. Played this at Dice Tower West. It was requested that I bring it, and we played it. Love the Dice Charmers. It's Rogers.
It's so fun. Man.
It's so fun. It's right up there with Rogers and Gandhi's and how much I like
love
either
it
one.
so much. Yeah.
Combo-tastic. Feels like Rogers and Gandhi's, but definitely feels like a different game. It's absolutely outstanding.
Agreed.
Played Rococo, the older version, this one. Still love it. You are a garment maker, and you're making lovely dresses and lovely suits to send people into a ball where hopefully people are like, ooh, that's a lovely dress.
You know this.
And you're trying to do a little bit of area control, a little bit of deck building, a little bit of like a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. It's just great. It's just great. Rococo's outstanding.
And pretty
it's
quick
really
and stuff.
game.
Yeah, really solid. We only have the old version and stuff, but like it still looks fantastic and everything. It's just we're so happy to have it. Such a good game.
Yeah, yeah. You've played Roll for the Galaxy.
Played Roll for the Galaxy. Yeah, I played this recently at a game night and stuff, and it's a great filler game. It goes by quick. It's fun to get all these dice and roll them out and allocate them to do different things, and you're kind of selecting again what phase you want to have happen to be able to do all the kind of race for the galaxy things. But the roll, it just works super good.
Yeah, I
the
really want
dice
to
are
play
good.
it.
I've heard there's a great expansion for this one. I really want to pick up Roll for the Galaxy someday.
Interesting. Played Scout probably 1 billion times.
More or less.
More or less.
Played at Aircon. I brought it with me to Aircon and stuff and played it a bunch there and stuff. It's just a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Especially at 4 players. Specifically.
It's great. I think it's great at all player counts. It is by far the best at 4, though.
By far.
But yeah, Scout is incredible card game. Playing out cards, it's great. Try it.
Do that.
You've played, again, another round of Seesaw
Another round of Seesaw and Paper. I'll tell you what, I write it down as full plays because I get that much satisfaction from it.
Yes.
We hopefully are getting this the next couple weeks. And if nothing else at Gen Con, we will pick it up. I'm sure Pandasaurus who's covering over here will have 1,000
I think it's going to be one of the
copies.
games. I think it's going to be the small game at Gen Con. That's what I guess.
It's a great game. The art style you can see is great. The set collection stuff.
Origami art, yeah.
It's super good.
Super good.
Katala, at it again.
At it again. We played Seasons for the first time in a long time.
I did so bad.
You did not do good, Mikey. It's an engine building game where you're putting out cards and trying to get these crystals and stuff, and you're rolling out these max chunk, dumb, thicky, thick chunk dice. And you're getting different elements, and you're using those elements to put in cards. It's really, really fun. I still really like Seasons. I think it's a game that's kind of always just going to stick around for us. Yeah. Even though we only play it like every year and a half. We'll probably just keep it because I love it so much.
Agreed.
Play some Silver and Gold. This is a great Phil Walker Harding Praise Be.
Praise Be.
I think it's the only second Praise Be game on this list.
I know.
We have not played that much Praise Be this year. Sorry, Phil. But this is a great roll and write game where you are trying to fill in these little treasure maps, and by drawing out these kind of like Tetris.
Tetramino shapes and stuff. You have to add that shape. You can flip it, put the thing down, flip it, and reverse it. But you put X's in, and if you get all the boxes of a card filled, you collect that. We'll give you points and stuff like that. Really fun, simple roll and write.
Great travel game, super easy. You can teach it to anybody. It's great.
Yep, agreed.
You've played a bunch of So Clover.
Oh man, it's such a fun game. I play it with our particular group of friends, and we'll play it a bunch and try to go for the perfect score. I am absolutely the weak link, but you are putting it's another kind of word association where you have 2 random words together, and on the Clover itself, you're going to write a word that hopefully points to both of them. I get two strains with it, I think, and they have to try to reassemble the Clover based on only those linking clues, which is really fantastic.
Such a good idea.
Great game.
Played Strike. Strike's one of the greatest games ever made. Most thematic game ever made. Don't at me.
Don't at me, chat. If you can't have fun playing Strike, you're not a fun person. I said that.
Boom.
Sorry
about
it.
You'll love to see it. It's a great game. You're throwing dice into a bowl, trying to live. It's great. It's wonderful. It's a perfect game.
Yep.
Super Mega Lucky Box. Okay, that's 3 Praise Bees.
To Phil, I was thinking, should this game be going up? Super Mega Lucky Box is a game where you are kind of bingo style flipping over cards with a number on it. And then if you have that number, like a 4, for example, you can cross off a 4 on one of the cards you're working on. As you complete rows and columns, you will often trigger bonuses, which might be additional numbers, which you can then go and do. It might complete another row or a column. And you're trying to complete as many of those cards as you can. So it's kind of silver and goldish in that way. You're drawing on the cards themselves. Really fun, super light.
It is a spectacularly fun game.
I don't disagree. It's a fantastic little game.
It's great. Okay. We played Taverns of Tifa. Here's the thing.
With the expansion, the Open Doors expansion.
I still don't really like it. I want to like Taverns of Tifa. We've had it for years. I've given it so many shots. At this point, I think I just don't like this game. I want to like it so bad. We played the expansion. The expansion was cool. I still feel like you get in situations where you just draw. It's a deck building game.
There's just not enough mitigation of stuff.
You draw horribly, and you're like, cool. I can't do anything in this round. My round is terrible. I don't know. I don't like Taverns of Tifa. I want to like it. I've tried it so many times, and every single time I left going, I don't like this. I want to like this. And so, Carlo, thanks for being the first time person watching us live.
Thanks for coming on.
As a TGIB fan, we'll hopefully vote for the Golden Geeks.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't mind the game, but it's just like, why isn't there more mitigation?
I would play it. I just don't really like it.
Yeah, sure.
We played OG Terraforming Mars with a Kickstarter backer, and it's great.
It's fantastic.
It's great.
It's a great one for a reason. I'm sure.
You know what's better?
Ares Expedition's coming up, which is the preferred version of Terraforming Mars at this point. Yes, love it so very much. Love it so much more.
Hi, Jenna.
Terraforming Mars, but they're all good.
Yeah, Terraforming Mars I like a lot more, but I do still like Terraforming Mars. Although now we have Terraforming Mars digital, I'm like, cool. We got rid of Terraforming Mars. We don't even have it anymore.
We don't need it.
I'm like, cool, I'll play digitally, still like it, but I love Ares Expedition so much. I want to try the co-op version. You played Three Sisters.
I did, yes. I got to try Three Sisters. Again, if you like this line of games,
it's probably should have been the new
Sisters,
one, huh?
I guess.
100.
Maybe I played it last year as well. I might have played it twice now. Yeah, it's really interesting. You're doing crops and stuff like that, so there's a lot of bonuses and things like that. But like, there's kind of this like rondelle of dice stuff you can draft from and things, which give you another action. So kind of like Motor City gives you like a little bonus action. So it kind of started that trend as well. I enjoyed it a lot, and I love the theme.
Yeah, totally. Okay, we played Tidal Blades Heroes of the Reef. We play Tidal Blades like once or twice a year. Still love it. It's a game where you're getting dice, upgrading those dice to better versions. It's kind of like American Gladiators, but with fish people. And I'm really excited to. I think the new version, the second game, which is a co-op like campaign dungeon crawl game, is coming out soon. I'm very, very excited because I really liked that. But I still love Tidal Blades. I think it's great.
Is super fun.
Yeah, it's so good. I played Trails of Tucana at Dice Tower West during our TLN meetup, and Trails of Tucana is great. It's basically kind of one of those games where you're flipping over a biome, and you have to draw a line between those two biomes from like desert to forest or forest to water, and you're basically trying to connect different things. There's like an A over here on your map, and A over here. You're trying to connect them. You're trying to get certain things in different areas. It's great. It's just a great simultaneous.
Super simple.
Simultaneous game that you can play with as many. You can play over Zoom. You can play with as many people as people have paper for. It's great.
It's awesome.
I played Tiwa.
That's right,
I finally got Tiwa played, and here's the thing: I didn't really like it. I wanted to like it very, very badly. It's just, and granted, I want to play it again because we had a very weird game. Where just like you always play essentially a 5-player or a 4-player game, and then the AI player that's always there just was weird. This one, they were like super aggressive, just the way the certain cards came out, and I didn't really like it. I want to try it again, but as of right now, I'm kind of out on Tiwa personally. But I want to try it again. I will try it again. But
I
didn't love it.
I just want to try it.
Played Turing Machine probably about 1 billion times.
I love it so much. It's so good.
Deduction
Get that
game,
code.
Trying to get 3 numbers in a row. It's perfect.
It's so good.
Played Twilight Inscription.
Yes.
That's been one of the biggest surprises for me this game.
It's been so fun. It's a roll and write version of TI4. I've enjoyed every playthrough I've done of it. It's been really just a good time. I like the theming, of course, of Twilight Imperium, which I still have not played. And I don't care. This game stands alone on.
Yeah, this game is
fine by itself.
really, really fun. It's big, beefy roll and write. I really like it a lot. Cool. We played Verdant.
Yes,
Verdant is kind of in that same line of like Calico, Cascadia, and it's kind of in the middle. It's like Calico is really, really brutal. Cascadia is much more chill. This is kind of right in the middle, and I really like it. In terms of like the game itself, I might like this the most, but I think Cascadia will get played the most still.
I agree. I agree with that very much. Yeah, but Verdant is really cool. It's just fun, puzzly, trying to get everything right and make as many matches as you can.
Really fun game.
Really cool. Eke out as much as you can out of a game. But yeah, Cascadia probably will always be number 1, but this is really solid.
Yeah.
And probably a better game.
Super good. Village Rails is so good.
So good.
I just played it again recently. This is a game where you're building out little train tracks in a little 4x3 or 4x4 grid. 4x3.
Yeah, you're playing 12 turns.
That's right, 12 turns. And every turn, you're going to have to put a new card into it. It's going to make all these different tracks. You're going to have 7 different tracks throughout your board. And they're always going to line up. And you're trying to get certain things on these cards. Will be like a farm. What a farm wants is you want different
types of landscapes.
Different types of landscapes on there. Certain things might want a bunch of the same kind of landscape. You're also scoring these cards. It's in a box this big. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Such a good game. Moving right along, Viticulture here. Classic,
I played
greatest.
I played it with Tuscany at Dice Tower West. This is one of the last games I played. It's still my favorite game.
Still redonkulously great. Yeah, winemaking never been better.
Still my favorite game.
Viscounts of West Kingdom, probably my favorite from the West Kingdom trilogy still. I really like Viscounts. The expansions are really fun. We played again with the Tome Saga.
I think this is officially my favorite of the 3 of the West Kingdom. It was always Architects, but Viscounts is so good.
Yeah, it was really fun to play through the Tome Saga as well.
Yes, playing with everything.
Oh yeah.
And then talk about Garfield games. Wait for the South Tigers. We played a bunch of times this year. It's in people's hands. This might be my favorite.
I think it's my favorite overall.
Garfield game, which is wild, but it's so good.
It's so.
It's a game where you're charting the sky, charting the land,
charting the waters,
exploring. Making pie charts, probably.
Getting giant tableaus of cards in front of you, space cards.
It's so
just
much
really
fun.
cool.
It's just incredibly good. It's
Super
so
cool.
good. I played Whirling Witchcraft at Dice Tower West. Still very, very fun. This is a game where you're getting these different potions, and these potions you'll turn in resources to get other resources, and those resources that you're making, you're putting your cauldron, and at the end of the round, all the cauldrons will move, and then you basically are giving those to the next person. You're trying to overload them because you only have a certain amount of space on your board for these resources. If you ever get to the point where they can't place something, you get it back, and that's a point. Once you get to 5 points, you win. So you're just chucking stuff at the next person, but you're also having to deal with the stuff that's being chucked at you, and it's so much fun. The only problem with this game is there are not enough cubes.
Oh, really?
If you're playing like a 4 or 5 player game, you will get to the point where you run out of cubes, and it seems to be a huge oversight. There are not enough cubes in this game.
And they bungled the whole powers thing completely.
The powers?
Because there's like the player aid and the bundle the powers.
Oh, that whole thing,
and like the tracking stuff from. They should have gotten
When I
rid of
taught
that
the game,
completely.
I said this is going to be the most annoying part of this game. I'm just going to tell you right now, and it was. Honestly, just wish
no
they
reference to like what the powers are. It's so dumb.
Whirling Witchcraft
It's a great game,
is
though.
very fun.
I didn't know that about the cubes thing. That's cool.
Yes.
Played a Whistle Mountain.
Whistle Mountain.
This is a really interesting game.
Really good,
where
man.
you're building up scaffolding and building out these machines and stuff, and you're placing these airships, and whatever they're adjacent to or on in the case of machines, you activate everything that's on adjacent. You're getting all these resources, making use of all these different machines in one turn. It just builds up really interesting choices, and this canyon is kind of flooding, so those machines eventually will go away if they get flooded. It's a great game.
Really good.
Try to get a bunch of
cool
points.
production. Very, very cool. We played Wonderland's War. Really love Wonderland's War, although I had a really bad game of Wonderland's War, but I still really love it. This is kind of like Battle Quacks of Quedlinburg, where you're fighting over different parts of Wonderland. It's really cool. The production value is bonkers. Go watch our playthrough. It's great.
Yeah, fantastic.
We played World Fair 1893. Great area control. We played this at that game day that we played. Area control game where you are trying to get your supporters at different exhibits. You're trying to build these out exhibits in the World's Fair 1893.
You know it.
It's just so much fun. It's absolutely great.
So good.
That is it.
That's it.
103 games. 188.
101 new.
Should be 189
and
100 because we missed one. Yeah.
The point is
102 new games. Thank you for being here. Thanks for getting through that. We'll be doing this again at the end of the year. We'll talk about all these games again, plus whatever
everything
else
we managed to try.
We'll be having a top 10 games of 2023 so far coming out tomorrow on our channel.
Please watch that
video.
video.
Check that out.
Share it around with your friends. We appreciate that.
This was a journey, Mike. We got there. 188 games.
That's a pretty good first half of the year. We'll see what the second half of the year brings.
Jason, thanks for that.
$18 ace over 188 games. Must be dropping dimes.
That's a lot of dimes. Thank you so much, Jason. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for that.
You're so lovely. Thank you.
We're going to get right out of here, everyone. Thank you so much. I got to go pick up my daughter from daycare. So
we had a block of time here, so we did it.
But we got it done. Thanks so much for joining us for another rapid reviews, or as rapid as we can make it and still have so many reviews. Again, check out top 10 games of the year so far. This is kind of our mid-year check-in, where we kind of see what the year has brought us so far in terms of games we've enjoyed and games we've played. So we'll catch y'all next time. If you haven't yet, please thumb this video up, share it with your friends if it's something you enjoy. We really appreciate it, and drop a comment with the favorite game you've played this year.
Yes, down in the comments.
So far in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.